Hi, my name is Samantha Petrowski.
Hi, my name is Deanna Feliciano.
Hi, my name is Joshua Morales.
Keep watching GPS 19. Things are looking up.
Side of the boat,
Yeah,
you know, those are flat boats, but people tend to stand up.
All right, I am going to call the meeting to order. It is about 6:03. Welcome, everyone, to the Groton Board of Education regular meeting. It is January 22nd. And the mission statement of the Groton Board of Education is teaching and learning, and the board goals is to provide dynamic, rigorous curriculum and to ensure effective and engaging instruction and embrace excellent learning environments. Can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? And excuse me, Mr. Acaris, would you be willing to start the pledge for us? Thank you. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on our agenda, I'm actually going to let our Vice Chair, Dr. Ackerman, go forward.
Aren't you going to ask me to introduce the?
Well, it's your,
Yes.
this is your agenda. This is
I
your,
want to say no. And I'll go up there and tell you why.
okay.
She's telling me why she's not going to introduce
She's not going to introduce
the scholars.
the scholars. She's going to go up there and tell us why.
But they're coming.
I think she's being goofy.
It's always my pleasure to introduce the Martin Luther King Scholars, but this year, I'm not going to do that. And the reason is that I went to, twice, I went to the International Baccalaureate ceremony at the end of the year at Fitch High School. And I saw the most impressive students introduce each other. So I'm going to let our scholars introduce each other.
Yay.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice and loud, Daryl, because it's on TV.
Okay. My name is Daryl Brady. Hello. And it's a pleasure to talk to you all here. And today I'll be introducing Jameen Importante, who's standing right here. Me and Jameen have been friends for the past 3 years. Ever since high school, we've been here. Jameen, again, is a fellow high schooler of mine. And she is an honor student and an advanced placement student. She is a member of the National Honor Society and has earned the Principals Award, the Mount Holyoke Book Award, and she has also earned the Raheem Carter Memorial Award. Jameen is president of the More Than Words Club at our school, which is led by Dr. Grenier, and this is where she and other students from the district also come together to talk about social awareness and the importance of cultural diversity. She has also been recognized for her achievements in business and in art. Jameen also does program leadership and is a playground coordinator for Groton Parks and Recs. She is also a youth peer advocate for the Groton Adolescents Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition. A Christian woman, Jameen also attended Bible study for the past 3 years, and she helps people at her church learn the Bible in her native language, Tagalog. And she has also dedicated herself 10 hours every single month to do congressional service for the public. And her school of choices that she will be attending or hoping to get accepted to would be Tufts, UConn, and Northeastern universities. Jameen Importante.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. So I'll be introducing Lily Johnson tonight. She's standing right there. As a person who's known Lily Johnson since we were in 7th grade, I can tell you that she is an absolutely outgoing and absolutely fearless individual who will do whatever it takes to achieve her dreams and make them come true. At school, Lily Johnson is an international baccalaureate diploma candidate and also a member of the National Honor Society. In her high school career, she has received the Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony Award for her outstanding commitment to social justice. And also the Secretary of State Student Citizen Award. Lily is also the president of the Key Club. And as a 3-sport athlete and winner of the Eastern Connecticut Conference Sportsmanship Award, Lily is the co-captain of the indoor track team. And just recently, on Friday, her and her teammates beat the school record for the 5th time in the 4x200 relay race. Lily's school of choice include Princeton and Northeastern University, where she intends to double major in global studies and political science. She also wants to pursue a doctorate in international affairs in order to work at the United Nations. She also wants to become a college professor in the future. This is Lily Johnson.
I met my dearest friend, Daryl Brady, in 9th grade, and we've just grown really close. Daryl is Vice President of National Honor Society, and he's enrolled in AP, UConn, and honors classes. Daryl is also a musical genius. He plays the piano, drums, the string and upright bass, as well as the alto saxophone. He's also part of the Wind Ensemble, concert band, jazz band, and he's a musician for the Mount Moriah Fire Baptist Holiness Church. It's amazing. He is also part of More Than Words, as he's touched on earlier, and he's been recognized in the community with the VIP, Great, and Fairness Awards. He is also a multi-year perfect attendance student. Daryl's schools of choice include Boston, Temple, and UConn universities, where he plans to study chemical engineering and music. Daryl Brady.
I would just like to say that two of our guests really distinguished themselves thanks to the service I saw at St. James Church. I knew from More Than Words that Daryl was a terrific musician, but I never actually heard him play. And he was mesmerizing on Sunday. It was just absolutely the most remarkable, very complex piece, and it just filled the church with music. And Jameen somehow, with this wonderful musical but loud voice, filled the whole church, and I was very intimidated. And Lily got up and introduced some speakers and was a distinguished, like she just did right now, was a distinguished speaker. So these are three. It's rare that a high school gets three. Dr. Ackerman can verify that. But to have three scholars of this caliber, and we were just so proud of you, and I know we'll be looking for you at the Martin Luther King next year at the dinner in October, because I know you're going to excel, and it's just a delight to see you in this venue. So thanks so much for coming.
I wonder if I could add just one more thing, and that is that all of our scholars are wonderful, and there were 9 scholars this year. And I wanted to take note to say that Lola Collette's daughter, Shelby Olson, Lola is a teacher at Westside, and Shelby Olson was one of our recipients, and she also sang Ave Maria at the. It was a solo with an introduction on violin by one of our other scholars. So we are so proud of you. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Like all good students, they're going to go home and study now, I suspect.
Exams. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good job.
You do our district proud. The next part of the agenda is comments from citizens, and the agenda items and other subjects of concern that lie within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education. This is the portion of the agenda where the board welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less. And citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentation should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Board members will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and cannot respond during the comments from citizens portion of the board meeting. Citizens should make their presentation from the podium and state their names and addresses for the record. Ms. Jones, was there anyone that signed up? Okay. Is there anyone from the audience? Portia, can you?
Well, it's really hard to follow such 3 amazing students. That's really exciting to see. So what a positive thing for our district. Just want to apologize showing up in my work uniform as I could only come straight here. My first thing that I wanted to just openly speak about was, once again, becoming an Alliance district. I'm just encouraging the board to, I'm hoping tonight we will have some of the answers as to why we are an Alliance district and what we will be doing to fill in those deficiencies or areas where we were designated an Alliance district. With that being said, this budget year we cut a lot of our remedial support, but I just wanted everyone to remember that even though we cut the remedial support and the remedial staff, that was not in the same year in which we are being considered an Alliance district. The data for which, if my understanding, is the previous year or even the year before that. So I have major concerns that we possibly are deficient in that area. Recently, we voted to reinstate the funds back to the original amount of the previous school year. But is that still enough, considering how we became an Alliance district was before the cuts? So those are some of the questions that I have. I also have some concerns about piloting of programs in our district. I feel that there's not enough transparency or parent communication or notification even before different programs are actually being piloted. One example would be, this year in 6th grade we're piloting a new program for math. Even though I was told that our core curriculum stayed the same and that the unit lesson plan would stay the same, they were implementing new material that was different, but none of that information is told to us until arriving at the school on day 1, when we start to see the material, or when I start asking questions like, well, where's the textbook? Or where's the paper? Or how do I reference this information? Then I'm told, I'm sorry, we're piloting a new program. We have an online password with information that pertains to that. But I feel that we could do better. I looked around and spoke to other people in other districts and asked, hey, what do you guys do when you pilot a program? That is something that is notified to the parents, either an all-call or an open house, where we actually go into great detail about what does it mean that what curriculum we're actually piloting, and how that material may look and how we can access it, considering we have no textbooks that come home. So I have some major concerns about that. My next concern is our freshman science next generation class, which is also new this year. Once again, no textbook. I was told we're photocopying pages from a CAP testing book, which we're using as our means to propel these kids through the next generation class. I was also told that a task force is still working to finalize that class. And I have major concerns with the students that are currently in it. If it's not really finalized, or we really don't have the direction, how are we actually teaching these children and students in that class to the expectation that they should? Once again, no information on that really. My next point from, once again, these are from attending all the meeting, is the magnet schools. I understand that we're becoming a magnet school for middle school, and we're also going to be consolidating that into a...
Just want to let you know you have 1 minute.
Sure, I'll get through this last piece. A magnet school once we consolidate into one. And I heard that we got a grant, which is wonderful. But I have major concerns about when that grant money runs out. Are we going to be able to afford to still fund this program? Because at many of the meetings, I've heard from Northeast Academy and Catherine Kolnowski that there's services and things that are lacking that really make this school a magnet school. So I'm just hoping that we are looking at the big picture here. My last thing is transparency. Attending the Board of Ed meetings, as you guys all know, I attend about 95%. I feel it's really the board or whoever is in charge of the meeting's job to make sure that everybody in attendance has a copy of any material that's being handed out. It actually felt, it really feels, I don't know, I can't give you the word right now, but there should be copies. We're in a building that has a photocopy machine. And as an elected official in this town as well, speaking from that area, it's really important that the budget and all those information and all those papers are handed out and distributed to everybody in the room, not just teachers that showed up and people around the table. You know, I feel that everyone that makes it their business to attend should have a copy. So these are my concerns with communication. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak? In the response to comments from citizen, Portia, you are absolutely correct. The budget paperwork should have been out, and that was a comment that we all shared with ourselves the next meeting. And so we're hoping to do better on that. Oftentimes we do have enough paperwork, but this is actually the first time that our business manager and the board have met in terms of the budget, not making excuses, just stating facts. And I will also be working with Dr. Grenier to talk about the communication program, but I do know that many of these things have been communicated through the woman that does and her name is escaping me, Rebecca Bias. A lot of the communication had come out in many of the flyers and also actually a lot of the different media events. But thank you very much, and we will continue to strive to do better. At this point, Rita?
I just have a question. I was wondering if Susan at our next COW could just speak to the freshman science next generation course and give us some information about that.
Right, I would definitely investigate that.
Yes, and also did the math 6th grade piloting math book, did that come before the curriculum committee?
Yes, that was done by the math task force, so there's certain chapters that are really within our curriculum that are just using a different delivery system, different kinds of problems that they're solving.
Is it West Side and Cutler?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Now at the student representative reports. Hi, guys.
So this week is kicking off a joyous week for our students. I hope you can sense my sarcasm with midterms are starting this Wednesday. And they're going to run from Wednesday till the end of this week, and then Monday will be our last midterm, and then that will also mark the end of semester 1, which I'm happy and excited about, but I'm also really sad because that means half the year is pretty much over. And then Tuesday will officially kick off semester 2. So some of the students that have like semester-long classes, they'll be getting their new schedule, so that's very exciting. Class council updates, the seniors are having Applebee's fundraiser on Wednesday, February 28th, and it's from open to close. And then the juniors will be selling Fitch lanyards. And then this is also very exciting. One of my seniors is directing her own play, and it's The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. It's this Thursday and Friday at the school at 7 p.m. If you are available, it's completely free, and it's open to the public. They are asking for donations, but ultimately she just wants as many people to come out and see it. She's been working very hard. I know many of the students on the cast. She auditioned all of them. She casted them all. She's been directing it. She's been helping the kids with the lines and everything. So if you are able to make it, it's this Thursday and Friday, the 25th and 26th at 7 p.m. at the school.
All right, the Fitch Music Department is having a really big month. They started off January 14th. The Fitch Chamber Choir performed in the Mystic River Choral Concert at Connecticut College. And both the Fitch Jazz Band and the Chamber Choir and the Women's Choir will be performing at the NEA Celebrate the Arts event. The Jazz Band is on Thursday, February 1st at 11 a.m. And the Chamber and Women's Choir is the second at 10:30 a.m. And then the jazz band on February 10th will go to Boston to perform in the Berkeley Jazz Festival. And then the band concert, the annual band concert, will be on February 11th at 7 p.m. in the Fitch Auditorium.
Great. That's it? Thank you.
That's a Sunday night.
Is that Sunday night?
That's a Sunday night.
For,
The band concert, February 11th, was it?
oh, February 15th. Sorry.
That's a
Thanks.
Thursday.
Misread my own
Yeah,
handwriting.
that's better.
Nice catch.
All right, thank you. Good luck, guys, on your exams.
Thank you.
And now it's the superintendent report.
Well, I'm going to go up to the, show a little PowerPoint. And I actually put out in the back there are copies, because we have not yet, there was a green thing on the front. Where's all your things? You're not pleased.
Do you need?
So I know
That's not
there's
enough.
been a fair amount of interest in the how we became an Alliance District and what an Alliance District is and so forth. So now that Ms. Austin and I have been in contact with the Alliance District office, we can answer some questions. The fundamental principle of Alliance Districts, thank you, is that all districts, not just Alliance Districts, are measured by 12 indicators. And the indicators are the academic achievement status measured on state assessments, which includes the SBAC test, the science test when it actually is not yet ready for this year, and the SAT. That's the high school test. Each of those areas, which I'll explain in a moment, has an academic growth component to it. They also measure the assessment participation rate. There are goals for that. The rate of chronic absenteeism, which is defined by more than 10 absences. And then a series of preparation for post-secondary career and college readiness courses. Preparation for the exams, the percent of those exams passed. Graduation rate for students who entered high school and then 4 years later. Also the graduation rate 6 years later for those who don't finish on time but finish after 6 years. The post-secondary entrance rate, physical fitness exam, and the arts, access to arts, which is actually only measured at the high school. So how, I think a lot of people want to know how districts are identified as Alliance. Some districts are Alliance districts. So a few steps. One is it includes all local and regional school districts. It does not include public charters, endowed academies like NFA and so forth. It also, number two, it does not include tiny, relatively small school districts of less than 1,000 students. Then the list basically sorts all the districts according to an accountability index, which I'll explain in a minute. And then this year, they add any districts that were previously identified as Alliance districts for the fiscal year ending 13 to 17. There were 30 districts. 3 districts were due to come off, and because of the financial implications for those 3 districts, they requested to stay on because of the support that they were receiving. So they actually expanded the list to 33 districts. There were a few districts that were not eligible because of numbers 1 and 2. So we actually came out number 36. But nevertheless, we're in the group. So I'm going to go through this in some detail, and I'm glad you have the papers right in front of you. I'm going to do numbers 1, A through F, and then 2, A through D. because this is really the academic measures of how we did. And what I've done here is I've listed, actually, thanks to Erica Kreider in Susan's office, I've listed the index score that our students received the last, well, it was actually 2 springs ago. It's the 15-16. Last year's data is not yet available. What the target was, and for academic targets, it's always 75% index, not 75%, a score of 75. And then what the state average was for that index. So in the case of English language arts, our index was 67.2, the state average was 67.7. But for our high need students, which are defined as free and reduced lunch, English language learners, or special education students, our index was 59, the state 59.4, the state average was 56.7. All our math students scored 62, the state average was 61. Our high needs students scored 54.5, the state average was 49.9. For science, 2 years ago now, 58.7 for all of our students, 57.5 for the state average. For science high needs, we had 52. The state average was 47. And now there are measures of growth. That is to say, there's a target that Susan's actually going to talk about. How well did the students go towards achieving that target? So some students meet 100% of the target. Some students only meet 50% of the target, and they take an average of all the, it's not the percentage of the kids, it's the percentage of the target. And so if you look at the target growth for all students, we scored 61%, and the state average was 63.8. The average for high need students in English language arts was 57.8. The state average was 58.3. The math targeted growth for all students was 64.5. The state average was 65. And the state average, our high need students for math was 59.3, and the state average was 57.4. So I'll just give you a moment to look at that and compare us academically to the state, and you can draw your own conclusions about that. But if you look at purely on the academic, but like the Groton yardstick, the index is more than just academics. So then, if I go to measure 4A, our chronic absenteeism for all students is 11.1. Chronic absenteeism are students who have 10 or more absences. Our average was 59.1. The state average was 11, thank you, 11.1. And the state average was 9.6. So we've got some work to do there.
And the target is less than 5%, the state is expecting for everybody.
The chronic absenteeism for high need students, ours was 15.8. The state was 15.6. The participation rate in CCR, college and career ready courses, we've got some research to do on this. Oh, do it. Oh, good. So then Susan will explain that in a minute. Our percentage of students taking college and career ready courses was reported as 52.6. State average was 67. So that's a significant decrease for us that we have to look into. The percentage passing exams was 34.5. The state average was 40.7. On track for graduation, we have 90.1. The state average is 85.1. The 4-year graduation rate, the cohort was 87.5 for us, 87.2 for the state. The 6-year was 75.3 for us and 78.6 for the state.
And the target for that one is 94%. So the targets are changing too, if you notice, for the different clusters.
Post-secondary entrance is 67.9. The state average was 71.9. Physical fitness, the first number is the percentage of students who took the test. We had 97.1 children take the test, and 41.5 passed on all 4 measures. The state average was not 97, but only 89% took the test, and 50%. So again, we had more students take the test, but the state had a higher percentage of students who passed. And then the arts access, again, which is a measure that we're going to have to look into, is 54% for us and 47. Even though we're way higher than the, well, maybe not way higher, but even though we're higher than the arts for the state average, it still is somewhat, it doesn't make sense to me that we only have 54% have access to arts. It's better than that. But if you, I didn't include the number here, but our index, big picture index, is 73.2. What the state is hoping for is that we get to 75. And when we get to 75, we will still remain for the next 4 years, this year and 4 more years, an alliance district. So we'll still continue to get the support, at least the ECS support, and we will. I know there was there's a request from our legislators to fund Groton's alliance program, commensurate with the funding that is being provided to the other 31 of the 33 districts get significant funding. Groton finds itself one of the 2, unfortunately, that doesn't get any funding.
I'd like to go back to the college career ready standards. And with that, it's the percentage of students in grades 11 and 12 who meet the benchmark on any one of these indicators. Now, the SAT is given as our state test in grade 11, so all of our students meet the SAT. And but they also look at the ACT, the AP, and the IB to see if they've met the benchmarks on that. And then also looking at the courses that our children are taking. So it's really important that we lift the bar and have the expectation that all kids, have the opportunity for, the honors courses, AP, IB, and, now that we do not have the basic courses, we have the, college. So that's a way of lifting the bar, but also making sure that we're giving the right level of support that kids need as well. So that's what those 2 indicators are showing.
Sue, the ELA stands for what?
English language arts.
About a couple years.
So these are kind of our marching orders, because in order for us to make growth and to reach those different targets, whether it's 75% for the academics, whether it's less than 5% for the chronic absenteeism, it's really important that, and I think we talked about this at our retreat, the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady wins the race, that it's really important that we monitor the data, monitor our students, and then really put into action plans those areas that we need to really work on. Whoops. I was going to try to make this grow a little bit. So the first is our DPI for the year. And if you look at it, it really starts 16-17. Our data originally was the 15-16 year. But if you look at each year and add on those percentages that are indicated, even after the 5th year, we're still not there yet.
Could you explain again what DPI stands for?
Yes.
District Performance
District
Index.
Performance Index.
So that's the index that we have. That's the measure that the state gives us by taking some of the SBAC scores that are on one range and some of the SAT scores are on another range. Remember we had that. So what they do is they take a high score for SAT and a high score for SBAC, and they give it an index number. So our index, I guess the index goes up to, I know the index goes up to 100. So our index for all of the English language arts, SAT and SBAC, they're saying to us, we have to get to a 61, or whatever it says.
Actually,
Can't really
I
see.
can't read it either because my, they're saying that we
68.6,
have to get to
I'm sorry.
68, starting at
68.6.
68.1 to 68.6. Now, that doesn't mean that if we make more growth, in a year,
Right.
we're going to turn it down. We'd love to see it make even bigger growth than that. But that's kind of the expectation as they lay it out for everybody, and that to eventually meet that target of 75. The next one is mathematics achievement. And again, they're looking for like nearly a percentage point from one year to the next, and then growing each year thereafter. So, we have not received the data for 16-17. We haven't taken the test for 17-18. So these, and by the time we get the information, unfortunately, this level of information, we're already into the next testing session. So, but we will be keeping track of this very carefully. English language arts, most of the scores are in that 60% range. We were actually told that only 10% of all the districts in Connecticut have 86 or better, so that, it's a really small number of schools. And we really found out that in the achievement that we were kind of neck and neck with the state, but when it came to things like chronic absenteeism, which is 10 or more absentee, we were really, far off from the state, way over in chronic absenteeism, and especially if the state eventually wants us to be less than 5%. So this is an area that we really do want to make sure that we're investigating and finding out what are some of the problems with this. Why is this happening? The next one is the 4-year adjusted cohort graduation rate, and also the 6-year adjustment graduation rate, adjusted cohort graduation rate. So those, the expectation or target for that will be 94%. So, any questions on that? So these are kind of our marching orders, and even in the Alliance grant, as we were writing it, we had to write SMART goals, and those SMART goals around each of these indicators were that we were hoping to achieve this or better.
So Jay, and then Gretchen, do you have a question? And then Rita.
I'm trying to understand, do we know what percentage of the state has already moved ahead with removing general classes from the high school?
I don't have that answer, but I could.
Okay. So, I mean, is that number skewed by the fact that that has been the trend? And we are still counting in the 2015, 2016, the students that are in the general classes. In other words, is this just sort of a academic fiction that other districts have reclassified their courses as college prep, and therefore their numbers look better?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
And number two,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
We may get an answer to that because the 16-17 scores should be out in a month or so.
Okay.
So of course, we're going to be fascinated to see where we are 15 on the 16-17 range.
I just wonder if someone at the Department of Ed knows, what the trend has been and what the numbers are for all the different schools.
We'll find out.
Well, they're definitely looking
'cause I know we
for
didn't do it in a
more
vacuum.
access to the higher level, more rigorous courses for
Right.
all kids.
Right.
And you get credit for our kids taking those kind of courses. IB, AP, honors, and looking at the assessments and how well they do. Are they making benchmark? And what's the percentage of our kids making benchmark on these exams? So that's all very important. But that's an interesting question to raise.
And, I think a lot of parents, several that I know, feel that taking their students out of school during the school year, and I'm guilty, we feel that travel is something that is important at this stage of their development, and so we choose to take them out, and of course, we're contributing to the chronic absenteeism for the whole district. I'm not sure parents understand, though, that somehow that was going to influence the status of their district statewide because they chose to take their children out for travel.
Well, I think that's why we really have to study absenteeism. And, you know, I'm going to be talking to you about action plans, but we already have a team of educators that are working on this through our Climate and Culture Committee to find out and to really pay attention. I know that I just spoke with an assistant principal at the high school who meets with all kids who are having a problem with, just to find out, okay, so what's going on? How can we support you? And, you know, it could be that they've had this terrible bout of the flu. Every case is going to be so individualized, so we really have to look for trends and realize that absenteeism matters, because when our children aren't in school, they aren't participating in the classroom and learning all that they can learn in school. Granted, there are instances where you're learning outside of school too, but I think that you just have to monitor that. The chronic is 10 days or more, and so you just have to really see what's happening.
So basically, the state came up with this plan years ago, 5 years ago, I think, 5 or 6. We need to identify which districts need extra financial assistance based on these criteria. And of course, by the time that it dropped down, or the pool became large enough that we were included, well, now there's no money. So I think that's interesting, why they added to the Alliance District population, but they didn't fund it. So.
Well, and that's why the State Department did give us some funding, and that's why I think we've got legislators that are looking into that and investigating that, because there are, all the other districts except for 2 are receiving some pretty substantial financial support. So we're investigating that as well. But I have to commend this board, because you created a yardstick years before Dr. Grenier and I got here that looked at really holistically education and important things like attendance and important things like access to the arts and all these extracurricular activities and sports. And so you really did examine this. You understand why this is important. As a matter of fact, I wonder why the state isn't looking at access to the arts in elementary, middle school, and high school. Physical education, quite frankly, alarms me, you know, and we've actually got action plans around that. When principals and teachers study that at the school level, at their school district, their school improvement plans, they look to say, how can we get kids more exercise and how can we help them to meet these standards? So.
I think we have a question from Gretchen and then also from Rita.
A great deal of concern about the absenteeism, if pushing parents to either leave their child in school when they're getting sick and they're in there too long and they get sicker, or worse, they pass it to the other kids. That's never a good plan. I really don't like pushing parents into a position where they feel guilty if they don't send their kid back. You know, if they've had a fever and they're back in within the next morning.
Right.
Instead of keeping them home that extra day.
Right. It is a balancing act. But I think communication, again, is so important. Communication with the school and with the doctors, and to send in a note if a child is sick, you know, to make sure that we know and we're aware. And we understand that. That's why the state gave us this 5% wiggle room, because there are going to be cases. But 11% is pretty high. You know what I'm saying?
Well, different kids have different things. If you send a sick kid in and your child, and the other child in the room is asthmatic and they catch that chest cold.
No, we're not saying to send sick children in, not at all. We wouldn't want that.
I think you had already spoken to the fact that it really needs to kind of be investigated to take a look at what all the other reasons are.
I'd just like to see if we do keep track of the one, you know, because it's a very different thing, you know, whether your husband's on the Navy and you're bringing your kids to see him because they haven't seen him in 6 months.
Right.
Why we're taking our kids out of school.
You're exactly right. That's why, you know, it's definitely a committee group that's working on this and will continue to really examine it. And then, you know, what do you do after that? You know, so.
I had a question. I would really like to have the data, if possible, for the 5 previous years leading up to this, whether or not we changed as a district in the 5 years previous to 2016.
We can't measure that. This is our 3rd year, so that's why we've just started receiving the growth, because remember, SBAC was only piloted back in 2013 13,
No, but
14.
I meant, you could do it for chronic absenteeism.
Oh, yeah, you could
could
do
do
it.
it for four-year adjusted graduation rate. You know, the ones that you could,
Mm-hmm.
it would be really nice to see whether
you
or
know,
not
we
there's
could-
been a change.
But there were alliance districts. So obviously, there was some way that
There-
alliance
yeah.
districts were. So if
Measured.
we could get that measure and put ourselves into that.
Into that, see
I'm
why
not-
we weren't
Yeah,
before and now
where
we are.
where we were and where we are now, yeah, yeah.
Question.
Yeah, that's a great, I've been thinking about that a lot, whether we were ever much better than 36, or
Right.
we fell precipitously, or we got
And now we
better.
really revived our yardsticks, so we are collecting all of that other data too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we'll ask. Susan and I are going to be up there shortly.
And the arts access, that would be also, that's for the high school, if they're measuring just high school, it would be the elective courses. And if we do not have enough elective arts classes for children to even take,
Right.
then they can't get into the classes. So that is really something I think we need to look at, as well as the exams for the IB and AP students.
right. Exactly.
That is
Yeah, we're-
something that I
we are-
really
we're
feel
looking into
strongly
all
Yeah,
about.
we
of
brought some of that data to the board to discuss, and, you know, we do need to examine that more closely.
Okay, Sue, I'm going to stop you for just one second. Katrina, and then Gretchen.
I had I had the question about the art, and it is only measured in the high school, correct?
Right,
We believe
Okay.
so.
right.
Okay. The second thing, and I know I've brought this up, and maybe y'all have the answer by now, the word cohort concerns me with the graduation rate, because I think we measure our graduation rate differently than the state does. Because,
I think you're right, but the state measures everybody the same way. So we have to find out exactly what that system is, and we will go up and talk to the state. But whatever it says is the state average for, you're right, I mean, some schools count dropouts students who drop out and then ultimately go to adult ed. That is a completion, and some systems don't count them if they do a GED. Some systems even will count a student as a non-finisher if they leave sometime during their high school years. There's all kinds of ways to count. But the state, first we're going to get the state's
formula?
the formula that they use. And then, but I can assure you that the state has applied that to everybody.
I'm concerned because it's cohort, and we have kids that come in and out of the
Yeah.
high school and don't stay there for 4 years.
Right. What they told us was it's a member of a matched cohort when they were in our schools on October 1st and took the exams now this is for testing cohort, took the exams like in April. They have to be there both times.
But they could have come from another district, but they still count for us as long as they're sitting in the seat in October
October 1st,
and taking
and
the
take
test,
the
so we
exam
can
with that.
still watch their growth and measure them.
But if they're only there for 1 year and we're talking cohort, then doesn't that not penalize us?
You know, this is really annoying that you're asking all these really smart questions. We're gonna have to find that out. This is why I love data. And you're right, that's a great example. I don't know the answer to that question.
And can we
Student comes
get,
to us for 1 year and parents get transferred in the Navy and graduates a year later. Does that count for us or against us?
yeah,
We gotta figure that out.
thanks.
Gretchen, I'm going to go to Andrea, because she has not.
My question piggybacks on Katrina's, and perhaps I should know the answer to this, but I don't. Where does the military compact, how does it address that particular issue of when a student is transferred and doesn't finish?
Well, the military compact lays out the regulations for how credits are counted and awarded and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how it counts in the Connecticut system. That is really a terrific question, because we have many students who, dozens of them, who start with us and go someplace else, and I don't know that the state of Connecticut has the ability to track that student, and if they don't, there is a student identifier number, PSIS number, but I don't know that that's a national system, so if the student goes to Virginia or Florida or Georgia, whether they're tracked. So we'll find out.
One of the things we
these are
did
great
discuss
questions.
at the military superintendent's liaison meeting just last week with the captain there was that the compact does protect kids and offers the ability to be able to see a parent that's coming in from out to sea and not being penalized in any way for their attendance. So should they take the day off when the parent's coming in, or should they take a week to go visit a grandparent because they've been gone for 6 months? And so that was brought up, and we were discussing that, and the captain said, but they are working really hard with the families, telling them how important it is for kids to be in school. We know that there are those circumstances where they need to take that time as a family, but then also you have to balance that, just kind of like we've been talking about illness and balancing everything for, you know, being in school. So that's not an exact answer, but there is that within the compact that kids, you know, parents have the right to take the kids
That's not
out.
the same as being transferred, that's my.
No, it's different, right.
There was somewhere, there's a connection.
Okay, back to the balancing act. As we increase the difficulty of most of our classes or all of our classes, there's that group of kids that are going to get frustrated. Are we, and if they don't have a place that really fits them anymore as we keep pushing, which is a good thing, I'm not saying it isn't, but are we going to keep an eye on how that affects some of these kids graduating because they've gotten frustrated and fallen out of their chairs, so to speak?
Yes, we want to look at all of that. We also want access to the curriculum. We want it not only rigorous but relevant for kids so that they understand it better. We want deeper comprehension. So it's not just about covering a course anymore. It's really to have depth of knowledge for all kids. One of the things I keep hearing as we make some changes in how we deliver the curriculum is that all kids are on the playing field so that they have access, so that they're not necessarily pulled out of a core curriculum and not ever receive it. So they're in the ball game with the other kids. Sometimes we have to give them added support. Sometimes it's with an additional tutor or additional specialist that's in the room. But you have a good point. We have to pay attention to all of that.
Thank you.
So this is taking a look at what we do. What will we do to improve performance? And I go back to the strategic plan. I think I mentioned to you when we met with this State Department of Education and the Performance Office, the real suggestion was, and it was very validating because Dr. Grenier and I had already discussed, we have this very detailed Groton plan, strategic plan. It's got a lot of ideas. I guess in creating the action plans that go with each discipline, it's getting more detail in it as we create that. But we definitely want to look at these areas. We want to be able to come up with an action plan, and we have a team that's starting it. So I think really coming up with what are we going to do with this chronic absenteeism? How do we research this? How do we find out who these kids and families are? What can we do to support them? And I think you know that with the $600,000, one of the ideas is to hire a social worker who will be in charge of attendance and really helping to support, at least at the secondary level, those families and children to find out what is happening. Also, the Connecticut core standards. The Commissioner of Education says when we first unloaded them and we wrote curriculums around them, we really didn't know too much about it. That was back in, 2012, 2010. So now to go back and unpack. So a lot of our curriculum work will be really getting, unpacking those standards again, looking at them, understanding them, what does this mean? And that the curriculum won't change, but it's really good professional development for the teachers. And then how, not only what are we teaching, but how are we teaching? College and career readiness factors we have to take a look at. How many kids are meeting that benchmark? When we're giving an AP exam, how many kids are passing it? What about IB, International Baccalaureate? Are we seeing increased enrollment in these courses? Are we seeing increases in children meeting the benchmark? So that sounds like, a job that the school would be involved in their improvement planning, and what the district would be looking at the district level. And then also looking at graduation rates, 4-year, 6-year, what is this cohort? How do we help support? We have an adult ed program, and when children, leave the high school and then participate in the adult ed, they're able to graduate with a Fitch diploma, but is that helping, is that supporting this graduation rate or not, So we really have a lot more work to do and research to do. I see some task force in my future, more.
Did I hear either Dr. Grenier or you, Sue, talk about the fact that you guys are due back up again to get more information? So is it safe to say that this is
They're
sort of...
actually coming to us.
Okay. So it's safe to say that this is really kind of unraveling?
Oh, yeah.
And your guys are continuously getting more and more information. I don't know about anyone else, but I've noticed that both you, Sue, and Dr. Grenier have gotten so much more proficient already in kind of talking about the Alliance School District.
It's a growth
model. Right, it's a growth model, but
I just have one small point. While you were talking, Sue, I realized with the College and Career Readiness that 50% of the high school will be taking international baccalaureate courses in 2 years, i.e. they will be taking middle years programs, the whole school.
Right.
Well, 9th and 10th graders. So that's going to have a huge impact on our college and career ready
And
courses.
high school success doesn't begin in 9th grade.
Right.
High school success starts when they're in
kindergarten.
preschool, when they're little.
Right.
So it's really not just what the high school is doing, it's really what we're all doing, K through 12. And so, pre-K through 12.
Rita?
I just would like to stress how important it is that our high-need students get additional support, starting in pre-K, right through the high school. I mean, it's not going to help. I mean, we have a social worker going to people's home about chronic absenteeism is important, but I'd much rather see tutors coming in and helping those children all the way from the very beginning. If you have a problem reading in 4th grade, it's going to just be compounded by the time you get to 8th grade, and it's hopeless at the high school, and that's when they drop out.
Right. By
So
third grade,
I
they
can't,
said they
I
need to
know
be
we
reading.
only received $600,000, and you don't want to put a lot of it, like the state says, towards bodies helping, but if you could think of it as not being full-time teachers, but just more additional support, I can't stress that enough.
We're
for
thinking
all our
about next
students.
year a significant investment in that area.
Thank you.
And also investment in our own teachers, providing the professional development, giving kids opportunities. I've even heard parents speak about having after-school, before-school support systems, so you could have a certified teacher working with children, small groups
Definitely.
of children. So you really get added value to that. So those are all things that are
Right.
so important.
And I think, too, to have I would love to hear from our physical fitness instructors. Have them come up with a plan.
Right.
How they are going to address this, starting from kindergarten right through 12th grade. Obviously, there's gaps that were never there before. I know when my children were in school, that was never an issue.
Right.
So we need to really see, do they need smaller classes? Do they need more access? Do we need aerobics classes? What are we going to do to get these kids physically fit?
Well, this board had decided to really create these enrichment programs at the elementary school, and we thought of the themes of STEM, which is your math and sciences, the fitness aspect, which is added physical fitness, and a lot of these programs are happening in the morning, whether it's yoga or, basketball or whatever it is, and then the performing arts. So, we really are moving forward in that. And now with some of the middle school grants, it's including the middle school, and we should talk really at the high school level what they have for opportunities.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Katrina?
We'll be able to dig down a little bit deeper in like committee of the whole or something.
I can't hear you.
I really am sorry, I couldn't hear.
Will this be a continuing conversation, like a committee of the whole or something, so we can have a deep down discussion?
Many
or more
times.
detailed?
Yep.
My sense is that, like the 2020 plan,
Yeah.
like this is going to be on all of our agendas. And once again, I mean, though we have known maybe for a month and a half.
Yeah.
But before, I think that Dr. Grenier and Sue are just starting to get all the information and kind of take a look at what that, what that is and how do we parcel it. And it's 5 years. That's right. That's right. But yes. All right, so we're going to move on. Sue, is there more things that you are talking about, or, because I'm looking at the assistant superintendent, or are we going right to Ken?
Yeah, we can go right to Ken.
Okay. All right.
All right, object code summary, you all should have that on your desk there. One of the first things I want to point out here is the FY18 budget column. It's that first column. If you look down to line 58, grand total, that's a different number than we've seen in the past meetings. Past meetings, we've been talking about 74.9. This number here is the 74.9 plus what the board has already approved of the 1.5 that has come back to us. Mainly personnel adjustments. So I just wanted to point that out. And so there is an additional $676,000 that hopefully you'll be voting on tonight to place back into the budget. But for now, we're looking at a 75.79 budget. So if we take a look at our differences versus that budget at this point, in salaries, we are projected to have some savings of $529,000, but that is offset by some overages in the benefits area. We've looked at these before. These are coming from town pension, it's coming from workers' comp, and the retirement awards. So those mainly offset. Under purchase services, we have some overages around $200,000, various accounts. But once again, these are being offset by some savings that we're anticipating in the mainly the tuition line. In that tuition line, there is some additional upside there that is possible, but as we continue to get those bills and process them, we'll determine whether or not any additional should be released through here. But at this point, we're anticipating, I think it's $168,000 savings in tuition. So all this comes down to basically we're right on track with the 75,791, 541 number.
So another way of saying that is, we have covered the $747,000 deficit that you've seen since September. And if the board appropriates $676,698 to what we're going to be recommending later in the meeting, then the balance would, of course, remain zero. That is to say, the budget would be balanced.
Yahoo! Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good place.
Yeah, it's a
Yay.
definite Yahoo.
Gretchen?
I was wondering, could you explain what were, on item 32, telephone and telephone repair? What are we spending $50,000 on?
Line 32.
Line 32.
Okay.
Yeah, that telephone, it's the cost of telephone lines coming into the schools, the cost of any phones, that type of thing. Is that-
Cell phones.
Cell phone, yeah, right, cell phones, yeah.
Who have cell phones?
Some of the district
Well,
staff.
the district administrators have cell phones. I think the custodians have cell phones. Some of our emergency, security folks have cell phones.
It just seemed a little high for just
Well,
phones.
Yeah, well, it's for the whole.
But it's for the whole
It's for the
district.
landlines, too.
Right.
It's the phone bill.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. Phone
Yeah.
bill, got it.
Phone bill.
And it's for
Okay.
the year.
Right.
Do we lease our phone equipment that's in the schools?
I don't know.
Do we lease?
Do we
I don't know.
lease
Sam,
the phone
would you know if we
system?
lease it?
Like the
I-
telephones themselves?
We're not sure.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a lease. I believe we own it.
Yeah, I think we own, I've not seen any bills, but I'll have to look into that. Yes.
I trust anybody else that's on.
Any other discussion? All right, let's move on. So the health insurance report?
I do not have an updated health insurance report to share. Lori and I did speak with MDG just this afternoon, talking about the renewal for next year. And they have gotten the information for December, which, if you remember, should include all of the Hartford Healthcare backlog. So they have that, and they're anticipating preparing that and giving that to us shortly.
Okay.
But at this point, we don't have that. And they did add that it doesn't look it doesn't look crazy. So I think we're anticipating that it's going to not be something that's going to shock us when we do get it.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm moving on. Oh, I'm not moving on. Jay and then Katrina.
I guess I'm just confused as to why I guess I'll be a little more complete, because I know maybe people watching don't know the big picture, but there was a change in insurance consultants. That change was driven by the town?
I think Lori can answer that better than anyone.
So there was a change. We had met with the town. They had interest in changing the current benefits consultant. But we did participate in that selection process with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
The prior consultant, I don't know what their pros and cons were, but I do know that we got a report every month. And I don't recall hearing that it was completely out of whack. Somehow they were able to give us a monthly snapshot. And I'm a little concerned that we've gone this far without seeing a report. I feel like I know the Hartford healthcare, because I brought that up months ago, was an issue. And that now they're trying to work through that backlog. But I know there was some confusion about matching town to board employees. Yeah,
that issue has been cleared up, the matching the town to board employees. And we did get a report for October. They hesitated to give us the November report because it didn't include these Hartford healthcare claims, and so they felt it wasn't adding anything. It was incomplete, and so that's the reason they gave for not providing the report. I think once we get this behind us and moving forward, I see no reason why we shouldn't expect to have a report every month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lee?
I think that you said we hope to have that information in the middle of February.
Yeah.
Katrina?
How long is this contract with this new company?
How long is the contract?
How long is the contract with the new company? MDG, is it?
Yeah, I would have to check with the town. I believe it's a year-over-year contract. I don't believe it's a long-term arrangement.
Okay.
Report from the Director of Building and Grounds. That would be you.
It is. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to report on the 2020. Last week, Dr. Grenier and I, along with Rick Norris from Public Works, representatives from Arcadis, who are our managers on the project, Kemp Morehart, and a couple of other representatives from SLAM, and Bob Austin LaFrance, who is our chairperson of our building committee, went to the DAS to review the consolidated middle school program. So we met with Mr. Bob Selmer up there at the state and had a nice dialogue with him. They did have a couple of questions or a couple of items that we need to discuss. We'll be meeting with the group. I believe this week we'll meet with them, and we're scheduled to go back up to the state to answer those few questions that they had. But the state seemed to be, and Mr. Selmer seemed to be very pleased with what we presented on Tuesday last.
Congratulations.
What was that?
I said congratulations, that's
Oh,
not,
this is,
we haven't always been making them very happy, so it's nice to hear that you guys were,
This
you
is
did
the
it.
group that actually controls the purse strings. That they approve the work and then approve the release of the, we of course have 184 million, which is now down to 180 million if I'm, there was $4 million. Can you explain how we?
The $4 million was carried in the project from the beginning for the purchase of property that would be equal to the Merit property if it were needed. As it were, we already own the property that they're accepting for the swap, so that money can't be used somewhere else in the project, so it has to be just taken off the bottom line.
But these are the folks that actually approve the expenditures. It would be a release over a couple of year period, which they've already started. Anything else?
Yeah, and the other item that I wanted to report on with regard to 2020 is that we have the RFQs for the elementary renovations, for architects for the elementary renovations were due on the 16th. We received 11 architect proposals, lists of qualifications, and the group, Rick Norris, Gary Schneider, myself, John Burt, the town manager, and Bob Austin of LaFrance we've been tasked with reviewing these 11 binders, and sometime next week, the last week of January, we will meet to select the finalists that the group, that then we will interview to select the architect for those two projects. So that's coming up.
thank you.
That's it.
Lee?
I just wanted to say that you sent out a memo to the people, the custodial people, about the fact that we've got flu and colds going on. I
Yes.
thought that was really good. I thank you for doing that. Because, phone things and, yeah, they need to be kept.
There are a lot of people in the district, everybody's being affected by this flu, and it's,
Thank
you've read
you for
about it in the
doing
paper, but we've been affected in our own department and throughout the schools, high school, all the schools are affected by it.
Thank you.
All right, so moving to committee reports. Oh, Jay, I'm so sorry.
Yep, no problem. And
I thought you were just waving at me.
And Dr. Grenier did send an all-call to the parents advising that the custodial staff is now working every day to make sure that those areas are disinfected. I have a question about the land swap. So is that now a done deal?
I don't think that has been, there still needs to be a sign-off at the state, but it is, I wouldn't say done deal because we don't have the actual paperwork, but it's been approved and we're just waiting for that signature.
Okay. And access, is that still something that's at Department of
Access to the property?
Transportation, yeah. Is it a done deal? Well, I guess it can't be because you don't have the property yet, but has it been coordinated with Grosso that the access will be through?
There have been talks between, Arcadis, I believe, is also a part of the Grosso project, and there are representatives, so there have been some talks back and forth, and I think they're amenable to making a deal. Some of it will be determined based on timing of when our project, the types of things that we're doing. In other words, they don't want to do finish pavement before we start construction traffic back and forth up the hill. But at this point, they seem to be amenable to it, but I don't think that is a closed deal either. Part of our, one of our meetings last week with SLAM, we did talk about the different alternatives for access to the school once it's done. Some of it may very well be done through the high school. Some of it may come up through Grosso. It may be a combination of the both. But I think that their last choice, at least their last choice that they described to us, was coming off of the side of Fort Hill, which was the original suggestion was to come off that one little flat spot on Fort Hill. So I think that one was pretty well fleshed out.
That's what they don't want.
They don't, yeah, that
That
would be their last
very
choice.
last.
That would be their last choice.
Their least favorite choice.
Right, mine too.
Yes.
I think everybody's last choice, I think.
Okay.
Any other questions? Andrew?
I was just going to talk about a committee report.
I'm almost there. Anything? No more waving, Jay? Okay.
No more waving.
Okay. Right. Committee report, Andrea.
Last week, I met with Dr. Grenier following the Curriculum Council to talk about resurrecting the ad hoc middle school committee. We want to meet again just to, one of the things that came up at the Curriculum Council was that Westside was meeting with, the teachers were meeting to talk about formatting for the
MYP.
For the MYP and how they're going to attack things. And I don't know that Cutler has done that yet, but Westside is beginning it. So we'd like to have the teachers who are involved and.
I started to set that up today.
Oh, good. All right. So you're going to get me a date
Yep.
for when we're going to be.
Yes.
So it's not an ad hoc, because an ad hoc would just be board members. So if you're talking about the middle school program where it had, so it's like an advisory committee, is that correct?
Well, maybe we did this wrong, but in the past, we invited people to.
I think it's the ad hoc that invited participation.
Yes.
Actually, I just read the rules and regulations.
That's what I meant. Thank you.
Okay. Yep, an ad hoc would be just board, but you can have an advisory committee which includes other members. I don't know why there's a distinction, but there is. Okay, so, this part of the agenda is for the committee reports of the, so you're just saying that you want to resurrect the middle school, and for the scope, I guess I'm not clear about what the scope is for the middle school program. Is it the same?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
What would be what's your goals for the middle school?
What's the agenda?
Yeah.
We want to talk about, we want to hear how the teachers are, what the process is that they're using to format, what's the discussion, what's the progress that's going on. We just want to know more about what's happening in planning the MYP program. That's what our charge was. And
Okay.
we're just picking it up again.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I just want to understand it.
I got it.
Got it. All right, other committee reports. Rita, do you have Learn?
Yes, we met last week, or I guess it was the 11th of January. It just seems to be going by so rapidly. We had a discussion, a very spirited discussion of how to be an effective board member, which was, I think I shared with, at our retreat, a little bit of some of the information that we discussed. And we also ratified the contract between Learn and the Learn Education Association and their teachers. That is the only union that Learn has to deal with. They have no other union, so it's really quite nice. It's just one negotiations that you go through every few years. And also, we had a report from the superintendent of schools in East Haddam. His name is Brian Reese, and that was very interesting. He's a new superintendent there, so, and what his goals are for the upcoming years. That's it.
Gretchen, did you have a scholarship for Tris?
They have not met.
Okay. Anyone else have a committee?
Well, we have.
Policy. Well, but that's
Policy zoning,
yeah.
yes.
That's your action. That's your old business and your new business. You guys have been busy.
I'm going to ask Kim about maybe again.
Kim is looking for you. Or Kat is looking for you.
I have a
Kim.
question, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place to have it, but my reasoning is that I was on a committee and have a question about that. Can I ask that question?
Sure. And then if it's not appropriate, can I then move it to
Yeah,
this place?
absolutely.
Okay.
I noticed on the town council agenda that they will be looking at the recent custodial agreement.
I noticed that also.
I can guess.
I guess, actually, Dr. Grenier has whispered something to me, but I have no idea what that is. I don't know if he whispered it either.
If you remember, the custodians requested that those custodians who might be laid off, the rule now is they have to immediately withdraw their funds from the pension. And they requested that we request of the town council that during the 2-year period that they're laid off, if they were reinstated, that they could take their money and put it back into the pension and keep on going. That's the request.
Right.
That we agreed to in the, we agreed to ask the question.
Right.
Oh, I didn't realize that had to go to the town council. Okay.
Yeah, because it's a town pension.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Also, in that agenda, it said, I thought the Board of Education was presenting to the town council tomorrow night, but they just have you
yeah.
as a regular.
I was going to clear that up later, but now that you brought that up, is that I think that Dr. Grenier and I were basing conversations that we had last week with you guys about meeting with the town council based on history, because right around our start of our budget time, we meet with the town council to kind of get to their ideas about the budget.
Yeah, but we're not on the agenda.
And so what ended up happening is by no fault of anyone's, we're not on the agenda. The fourth Tuesday is a standing part of the agenda where the superintendent, the mayor does know that the board will be coming in mass, because I did inform her that we are going to have a workshop tomorrow night on our budget, but that we were all planning to kind of show. So the town council will be aware that we will be there, but I don't know if the mayor will like entertain us all meeting together, or whether part of the conversation is will we meet as two bodies at some other point soon.
So town council doesn't have to be frightened when they see all of us there.
Well, that's what I wanted to make sure, is that they realize that 9 people coming to their meeting was based on the fact that there was a misunderstanding or whatever that Dr. Grenier and I had, only based on history, not on fact. And so, but the mayor does know, and I believe that actually the town manager also knows. So we cleared it with both.
And it's 6:30.
It's 6:30.
Not 6.
It's 6:30.
Is that when we meet with them or when we meet?
So what's going to happen is Dr. Grenier is absolutely going to be the person that will direct, because that is the agenda. It's a standing referral with the superintendent. And so my understanding, and there was a couple of us that went last month, or last time, and I do believe that the town council is looking to hear answers to the questions about the Alliance District, and sort of what got us there, because I think that was the first time that we really had a chance to kind of, yes, it's true, we are an Alliance District, but we don't know what's going on. And so I believe that is some of the things that they are going to ask for, but I don't think that there's going to be a budget talk, but I don't know. So.
With the town council.
With the town council.
We will have a budget workshop.
But we're
afterwards.
having a workshop. So we are partying together.
Right after prom.
So what time does the town council?
6:30.
6:30, and my understanding from the town manager is that he's going to try to get the superintendent on at 6:30 or close to, and that I don't know how long it's going to take. I can't predict that, but right after that, we're going to be moving into the annex. I mean, to one of the rooms.
Right.
Katrina.
Since I've been on the board, I have found it very, very helpful to sit down with the town council, be they here, us there, we're all at the kids' table, however it happens, to gauge where they're at.
Yep.
Will we have the opportunity to do that?
I can't answer that for the mayor.
No,
but she asked, once again, when I realized that the agenda was different than what how it was written on the agenda was different than what I assumed, I wanted to send my apologies that I misunderstood her, or I jumped ahead of the line. And she wanted to know whether there would be interest, and I had not answered that, but I think that we can get that gauge tomorrow. And
if they don't invite us, can we invite them?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Because I think it's valuable for us to have that conversation.
And my guess is that they're going to want to do that. I mean.
Okay, I just want to.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to want to do that.
Okay.
Rita.
We usually meet with them, after we have the public hearing, when we hear from the public, and, which is next week. But usually it's later, a little bit later, after we hear from the public, and we, no, they're, the town's, the public's concerns.
Yep.
So,
With that said, I'm going to move us on, if that's
Yep.
okay? All right, so we're going to move to the consent agenda, which is listed, and I will entertain a motion for acceptance of those.
So move.
Can I have a second? Rosemary? Any discussion? Katrina?
Two things. The first one is I just want to make sure this isn't a typo. The UCAS LLC trustee for Pfizer Foundation Matching Gifts Program, girls soccer jerseys, is that supposed to be $45,000 or $4,500?
I wondered about that.
Or $450?
It's probably.
Because
a typo.
$45,000 is a little extreme. We need to look into that.
Beautiful jerseys.
Gold plated.
I'm going to guess 450, but let me verify that.
$450? Okay.
4,500.
Could be 4,500, that would be really.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But I asked the same question.
I didn't even see
All
them
right,
on
Joe,
the
yours on here.
And do you have another one?
Yeah.
I'll find out.
When I was reviewing.
We still got, Katrina's on the floor, please.
When I was reviewing the minutes, I was a little confused as to the list of those present at our meeting on December 18. I don't think it has been the practice to include people who either speak and/or are just attending in the audience. Doug Manfred, he is a GEA member, but he's never been on here, any other present. And also Portia Badalon has never been listed. And, I mean, if we're going to start listing those, I just want to be clear on if we've changed the procedure or something.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Do we know why that we moved to that?
People who speak during the meeting give a report. I have always listed them as an attendance.
Give a report or just public speak? Because we had 4 public speakers that night. We had 3 other parents as well. And I don't think Mr. Manfred made any type of report.
Wait.
Okay, great. Thank you. Great. Okay.
So you're going to add the correction to the minutes is adding
People I missed.
the people that you missed.
But are they listed under present or as people who speak?
I'm the president.
I've just never noticed that
You list
before.
everyone as who was present, or you list all the speakers? Yeah. What I think Katrina is talking is on the front, the president says the board and all that, but not necessarily the guests who were there. Under the present, that's your point, I think.
Yeah. Right.
And then under comments, of course, we put the person and the person address and
Yeah.
what they said.
On the
Yeah,
first
so the
page.
comments is fine. It's
Yeah.
just who is present, so we'll amend that.
Yeah, I
got
didn't
you.
realize we put speakers under present.
We
That
don't.
was my thing.
We don't, that's what, we'll verify that.
Yeah.
On the very front, who showed up for the, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I just never noticed that.
Do we typically, do,
I have always. They gave a report of full
oh, I see.
during the meeting.
But all the people who made comments are not on the front.
So she is saying that she wants to amend that piece.
Oh, you want to list everyone who made a comment? I see.
I missed that.
Okay, so,
Then I would like to have a discussion, or maybe I need to send it as a referral, that we could have present and then speakers to delineate between the two, because, Susan was here, she's a school employee. Doug Manfred, I don't remember him making a presentation, yet he is a school employee.
So what I'm going to do, so belaboring this, I mean, I don't know if you want to, I
I'll
don't
send
know what
you
you want
a
to do about the
referral.
minutes, but we can put it under policy to kind of take a look at the guidelines, what our board guidelines are in terms of the agenda items. I mean.
And I probably should have
get some
brought that,
history.
but I didn't, so, thank you.
So, that's a discussion, so do we want to, are we changing the minutes as they are?
The motion was put on, yes, excuse me.
So the motion is put on the floor to accept the consent agenda, but now now we're having a discussion about who is present and who's speaking.
It's a motion as amended.
It's a motion,
Of the 18th,
okay. So,
unless you want to hold off on approving those minutes.
I don't know if I see the need to hold off on approving the minutes, if people have felt that the minutes are fine outside of that.
I like the way it's done here.
Okay, I don't want to be, I don't, want we're going to get stuck in the weeds on this. Okay, so the first thing would be the motion for the amendment. Is to do the amendment.
Motion unless you wanted to go below the consent calendar as, with a correction to the minutes of the 18th.
Okay,
As corrected.
as corrected. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion carried. The board would like to say thank you to the UCAS LLC trustee for the Pfizer Foundation, the matching gift program, in donation for the amount of, and we'll get that cleared up, for the girls' soccer jersey at Fitch High School. But thank you anyways for whatever that is. We are so appreciative of that. Charter Oak Credit Union has made a donation of $500 for the Gloucester Music Program, and the Chelsea Groton Foundation has made a donation of $2,000 towards the purchase of a new micro steamer for Mary Morrison School. So thank you for all of those. And
What is a micro steamer?
Thanks for asking. I just wanted to highlight that the representatives from the Chelsea Groton Foundation were very nice, came in, presented me for the school system for a check of $2,000. It is a new kitchen at Mary Morrison. It just opened this year, so now we have a facility, I think, Sam, at 7 of the 9 schools?
Yeah, our next school will be Charles Barnum.
Charles Barnum. So this is a brand new, and this is an enhancement. I don't know exactly what a micro steamer is. I know it was a piece of equipment that Ernie was very excited about. And I'm assuming it's a food preparation tool, but I'll have to get back to you on that.
I know what big ones are, I just don't know what a micro is. Yeah.
It's like the big one, but it's much smaller.
all right, so I'm moving on to old business and the first motion. And Jay, would you be willing to read that, please?
Motion to approve as a second reading policy P1330, use of school facilities.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Did you get that? Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to know who was seconding it. So, any discussion about the use of facilities?
I had a question about it. I shouldn't have any questions about this. Since, policy. This is 1330, paren A, unparen. Is this the same as 1330? It is. Okay. I just didn't understand the parentheses
Also
A.
included the appendix that goes with it.
Okay.
Which gives the charges with that added green language about the custodians being present, and there would be charges, for non-profits if they're in that area. And then there's also regulations.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion that's on the floor, which is to approve the second reading of the policy P1330, use of school facilities, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion so carried. Rosemary, would you be willing to read the second motion, please?
As soon as I find it,
I got it for you. Right there.
The motion is to approve, this is to approve, this, we just did that.
Oh, yeah.
Motion to approve a second reading policy P 5145.4 discrimination, parentheses, LGBT/gender, and parentheses, period.
And I just
That's the
want to
Wait,
point
can I have a
out
second,
the
please?
non-discrimination policy.
Yeah.
Non-discrimination policy, yeah, discrimination.
Period,
yeah.
that's just a typo.
Yeah.
Can I have a second, please? Any discussion besides the fact that we need to put non-discrimination policy?
I have a, so this one is 5145.4, not 514 point, is 5 what?
It's
5145.53, that's the regulation. Is that the one that goes with this one?
No, that is the second policy that we're going to be doing the second meeting on.
Okay.
So right now, we are discussing policy 5145.4.
Okay, thank you. Got it.
Any other discussion?
Wait a minute. No.
Any other discussion?
The next two.
All those in favor, please say of approving the non-discrimination policy P5145.4, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstain? Motion so carried. Lee, would you be willing to read the motion for number 3?
Discussion and possible action regarding approval of a second reading policy P 5145.53, transgender and non-conforming youth.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Jane, Katrina, Lee, you pick. They all did at the same time. So discussion, please.
I have a question. The policy says this policy does not anticipate every situation that may occur with respect to transgender or gender nonconforming students, and the needs of each transgender or gender nonconforming student must be assessed on a case-by-case basis. So that says, in essence, that you have to look at everything on a case-by-case basis. But then, if you look at the regulation, under definitions, under the first one, where it says gender identity, the first one, at the very last sentence says, everyone has a gender identity. And if that's the case, I don't think we can make a blanket statement like that. I am aware of individuals who don't identify with any gender and wish to be referred to as they. Not she, not it, not he, but they. And so if everyone has a gender identity, then that conflicts with looking at everything on a case-by-case basis. So my request is that we get rid of that, everyone has a gender identity. It flies in the face of the policy.
That makes sense to me.
Well, it didn't,
It's a regulation, so.
And it doesn't
yeah,
change
it
it.
just
Yeah,
tries to
what the
explain
heck?
it better, and if you think it's confusing, then that's.
I
Yeah.
do, I think it's.
take it out.
You're right about that,
Yeah.
Dr. Ackerman.
Thank you.
That some kids do
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah, and
All right, so we'll amend that.
that's the regulation.
Well-
All right.
Any other questions? Discussion? Kat?
We are approving the policy. When Mrs. Ackerman referred to the regulation.
Katrina, unfortunately, we really
Lord.
can't hear.
Sorry.
Just turn your microphone.
Usually y'all can't hear me way too much, but the policy is what we are approving. This just occurred to me, Mrs. Ackerman, when you mentioned the regulation. We approve the policy, the school system, or the staff crafts the regulation. So when we're approving a policy, is this the appropriate time to discuss the regulation if all we're approving is the policy?
Well, we got both of them in our packet.
Right.
They're here.
Yeah, I'm
They're
just
both here.
procedurally, okay.
Can I just have a microphone? you're right that the board is responsible for approving the policy. We just find that oftentimes, and it doesn't happen every time, I wish it could, but that we craft the regulation. And I often have our board committee look at that too, just to help with that. But to have them come out both at the same time, because we're really trying to make sure that policy, whenever possible, can be succinct, short, to the point, page or two, and it's in the regulations that we are able to make a lot of that backup information and description. So you're right, but I do appreciate the feedback that I get on both.
I don't see how we could have a policy that isn't backed up by a regulation that is in line with it.
I don't disagree with you at that point. Gretchen, did you have a?
I don't know.
Lee?
Is there some, if my child was in a changing room with a child that, I don't even know how to put it, but I think parents should be notified if a child of a non-conforming gender, I don't know.
I'm not sure that's legal.
I don't think it's legal. And remember that the reason why we did the policy, and please, from the policy committee, please back me up on that, that we needed to have this because this is law. This is by law. So,
Not only do we need it, it has come up 3 times in the last 2 weeks.
Awesome.
With our students.
Yes.
With students?
Mm-hmm. 3 students that I referred to this draft policy with principals because they are dealing with these issues.
Any further questions or discussion?
I just wanted to say that for kids or anybody, any single person who says that that person wants to be a they, as a grammarian, they can't.
As a grammarian? Okay, all right.
Here we go with the grammar.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of the policy, second reading of the P514.53, which is the transgender and nonconforming youth, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion so carries. We're moving on. So the next one is on new business, which, Rita, would you be willing to read?
The motion to approve the following courses for the 2018-2019 school year: Latin poetry, Latin prose, special science 9 and 10, special science 11 and 12, photography 3, Falcon Cafe, Spanish for the workplace.
I do have an addendum because the principal told me that they're not ready to roll out the Spanish for the workplace. So like those other 2, we're going to hold off on that one.
Okay, so strike that from the motion,
So we're
please.
amending the motion to remove Spanish for the workplace.
But we haven't had a second on it, so I'm just going to say that the motion is without the Spanish for workplace. And can I now have a second?
Second.
Rosemary has seconded it. And just for starting of the discussion, just once again, just for the people who are watching either on TV or here, is that we did have a robust conversation where most people came and presented the course material. And then one of the requests that many of us asked for is that in our board packet over the weekend that we got to read about the course description, and that also we are going to have scope and sequence that's going to be presented to us, not for approval, but just to kind of show us what the curriculum was directed towards after the summer. So that just to let people know that there was a chain event as we go through quickly. Jay?
I just want to say, I said this at the committee of the whole, but I just want to publicly say that I personally, and I think I speak for everybody, was so impressed that the faculty developed most of these ideas and came up with justifications, that it was truly from the faculty up and not imposed from administration down. And I think it's wonderful because they're in the best position to know the new classes we need, what the students need or are asking for, and I think it was wonderful, and that was in coordination with the new curriculum council.
Any other discussion? Oh, Rosemary, I'm so sorry.
I just also want to add that it was exciting to to hear about them. It made me want to take Latin again.
Well, it wasn't that exciting.
Almost. But what was really quite moving was their energy and their enthusiasm. So if you can.
I will pass that on.
People who love their craft.
Yep.
Andrew?
While I love the Latin prose and Latin poetry proposal, I'm concerned about that second, that there's no third and fourth year of that, offering that language. And I understand the logistics of.
Excuse me, there always will be a third and fourth, because students will take Latin 1 and Latin 2, then whatever shows up during their third year, whether it be prose or poetry, they'll take that. And then during their fourth year, it will be the flip-flop of prose or poetry.
So we're getting rid of. But that's only a half, that's one semester. That's not a full year of Latin prose and a full year of Latin poetry.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm concerned about the credits.
Okay.
Well, there is IB Latin, classical studies.
Well, that,
Oh, that's a main IB course.
but that's not that's not going to give that fourth year, that fourth credit.
Yeah, I think,
I thought that it was.
I think
I thought it was
IB
too.
classical
Yeah.
studies is a 2-year 11th and 12th grade
I thought it was
IB
too.
course.
I'm sorry that the print came out.
I'm sorry that Joe isn't here.
I think Jay had.
Any thoughts from you guys?
It says Latin 3 and 4 would be
1 year
a
is classical
rotating
studies.
curriculum of Latin poetry and prose.
Yeah, you thought, I thought it was a year too. But, yeah. Hold on one second.
I'm looking right at the document from the teacher.
Yeah.
And it says that Latin 3 will either be Latin poetry or Latin prose, and then and then the reverse for Latin 4. And I think it was a way of compacting the number of students and being able to offer it on a rotating basis. But it would still stand as Latin 3 and Latin 4.
That's not how I understand.
Yeah, that's not what it
Because
says.
a rotating curriculum, it's right here in the document.
The modifications to existing curriculum on the back.
What are the proposed
Yeah, Latin
changes?
3 becomes poetry and Latin 4 becomes prose, but we'll flip them.
But I think what the
Sounds like
confusion
insanity.
is that that's not what's on the new Latin course proposal on this side of the sheet.
And that's
Right.
not what was said at the cookout. Or at the COW meeting.
Jay, did you have a question?
Well, I mean, I know it's kind of esoteric, but in my research on this, there was no college or university that was requiring a fourth year, though Harvard does recommend it. So if you were concerned that the students, if this turns out to be a semester course, I don't think it affects their ability to go on to college or university. But I would like to know whether it's semester or full year.
So could we, I guess my question is, can we, if we approve this, do we approve all of them? Or can we say everything but we'd like Latin to go back because we should still don't get it? I don't get it.
Well, I think we've got two students here who's looking at the course description to see
Program study, we just want to be sure about the credits.
about the credits. I don't know what's going to happen to that course or whether it does not come then online, because this is for their course of study. I don't know if we need to, whether this is enough to people to say no to it, or whether we need to have to approve it and then have to come back to the knowledge about whether it's a half semester or full semester. I would hate to see. One second, Jay. I would hate to see us not have this go forward because of that question. Jay?
Again, I'm reading the description. It says Latin 3 and Latin 4 would become a rotating curricula.
Yeah, that's my understanding. It's
Yeah.
a full credit course, Latin 3, and a full credit course, Latin 4. But because we have so few students in Latin 3 and then so few students in Latin 4, we'll congregate all the students available in one particular year. And they'll take poetry. and then the next year we'll take all the students available and they'll take pros, and we'll just keep flip-flopping that.
I don't think,
It's a 2 years, and if you really want to take 4 years of Latin, you go and you
I got
take
it.
classical studies through the IB program, so Latin 1, Latin 2. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, it would be Latin class, it's these two courses. What I'm getting at is these two courses, if you were to approve them tonight, they would provide students with another option instead of taking the IB course.
Exactly. But they're full credit courses.
I believe so.
Rosemary?
I think it has to be considered a full credit course if Latin 3 and Latin 4 are full
Yes.
credit courses,
Right.
because it
Right.
says modification.
Mhm.
So unless it
That's
says
it. That's my understanding.
not
Not a
being
new
a full
course.
credit course as part of the modification, that we can, I hate to assume, but I think we can assume that it would be a full credit course.
And maybe you could just in your board notes, just do that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gretchen?
I have a question on number 6. What will the financial impact be? And it says, no new materials are needed at this time.
well, we're talking, which one are you talking about?
About the Latin.
It's right.
Oh, the Latin.
Okay.
Number 6.
I'd not be, I just don't want to see
Therefore, creating no fiscal impact.
at this time.
Well,
And the last part of the sentence, she writes, therefore, creating no fiscal impact.
Did it not copy on yours? It's not a very good copy.
It still says at this
You
time.
can see it in the program, we are putting some money aside for that.
Colon, therefore.
No fiscal impact at this time.
Right,
Right.
right.
So maybe 3 years down the road there would be, but right now there isn't one.
I think we're getting into the weeds again, guys.
I just want to make a quick, I heard her say that all the texts already exist, but obviously, 3 to 4 years from now, the text may fall apart, or we may go to all electronic, and so just with any class, there may be a future fiscal need to replace materials.
I think that Dr. Grenier also further on in the meeting is going to be discussing some part of that as well. Your point is well taken, Gretchen, is that we have to make
It's
sure.
kind of like when we get grants, the money goes away. I don't want
Oh,
to see
that's
it.
not gonna happen with Latin.
Even if we had 20 students, and even if it cost $100, which would be hard, that would be $2,000, and we could pull that out.
Just trying to keep all our little
Yep,
ducks in a
yep.
row.
No? Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion that's on the floor,
I just had a
Rita?
quick question about the cost for the photography 3, the large format printer, almost $1,800. Is this something that we will be in our budget and may possibly, if we need to have budget cuts, be something that would be cut? Or is this would be for next
I
year?
think Mr. Artemis is
Putting
planning
that
to put
into
this in
his-
stipend.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for picking that up. Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting the motion that's on the floor to approve the following courses for the 2018-2019 school year is Latin poetry, Latin prose, special science 9 and 10, special science 11 and 12, photography 3, Falcon Cafe. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstain, motion so carries. We're moving on. So. We're at the bewitching hour. Okay, so, number 2, Jane.
Right, with increased fee, we'll go with number 2. Discussion and possible action regarding approval as a first reading of policy P2151, recruitment and selection of certified and non-certified employees.
Can I have a second to the motion of reading the first, approve the first reading of the policy?
So moved.
I've got Lee. So Lee and Sue, do you want to walk us through this?
I'm actually going to let Lori help walk us through this. This is recruitment HR policy, so she's going to help us with that.
Sure. So the P2151 was a revision to the policy. Originally, this policy was in another section of the board manual under P411. Spoke to the same issues. When we got the CAPE samples, it looked like they had moved it to the personnel section of the manual. So it has been combined and then moved to the P2151 has been moved to P4111. So we had some of this context, but it has been updated with the most recent version that we received from Kate.
Do we have any other discussions or comments about this, the policy? All right, so all those in favor of the first reading of the policy P2151, recruitment and selection of certified and non-certified employees, please say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion so carried. Gretchen, can you please read the motion for number 3, please?
Discussion and possible action regarding approval as a first reading of policy P4111. You said 3, right? Yep, okay.
Just the
Recruitment
motion.
and selection, see enclosure.
Can I have a second?
No.
Can I have a second to this motion?
Oh, I'm second.
Well, she didn't read the motion yet.
Oh, yes, she did. To approve, we'll do it again. To approve as a first reading policy P411131, recruitment and selection.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you.
Lori?
This is just the, as I was referencing on the earlier one, this is just the revised version of the prior P2151.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of the first reading of the policy 4111, which recruitment and selection, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstain? Motion so carried. Katrina, can you read number 4, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as a first reading policy 4112.51, employment verification and offer.
So Lori, is this looks a lot of more green.
Yeah, let me explain what is in this document.
We did have a second. Did I not ask for a second?
I'll second.
Leah, second, and we're going to take a 3-second break. Yep, we're taking a 3-second break to change the video. All right, we're ready to go back again? Yep. So, Lori, you're back on.
Sure, thank you. So this policy basically outlines all of the new requirements on the district with the passage of a new legislation called Public Act 1667. So this was passed by the state back effective July 1st. We've been complying since it originally passed. And basically this outlines all of our obligations around hiring, reference checking, employment offers, anything that has to do with the hiring process in which we have to meet our obligations with that new regulation. So we previously did not have this policy at this level of expansion. It's been expanded to include all of those regulatory items.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the first reading of policy 4111.112.51, employment verification on offer, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstain? So carried. Jay?
I move to approve as a first reading policy P5114, suspension, expulsion, due process.
Can I have a second?
Second?
Sue, are you back on?
I'm back on. So I've got the regulation in front of me. Hold on. Okay, this was a policy we've actually been working on for a while. And the committee had asked if we could send it back to our attorneys because they had some questions with looking at in-school suspension, and instead of 5 days, it's actually 10 consecutive days. I guess that was corrected. This was the one around looking at preschool to grade 2, and the state being very cautious about our suspending little children. But that we are allowed to suspend for out of school in the case of violent behavior or any behavior of a sexual nature that endangers anybody or persons. So that's really the gist of that and some updating in the law.
So after, I wanted to say, usually we have the green, which is new, the black, which is old, the strikeout red, which was stuff we wanted, but the blue is the attorney. So now we have another color. The blue is the recommendation from the attorney to make sure that we've got everything in here that we need. So he added the part about bullying. Cyberbullying. And we took out the small section in red about bullying, and he added more detail to that.
Katrina?
One of the things that came up with this, Susan, was the knife length. And it was noted in special ed. Am I too loud now?
If we can find it.
No,
now.
can't
Okay.
hear you.
We can't hear you.
I can hear me.
Well, that's good.
Okay, I don't know what's going on tonight. Okay, B, special education, wait a minute, let me find the specific section. Section 5.
It's still there.
Yeah, and
And
but it's not in the other place, it's nowhere else, does it define the length? And I thought we were gonna check on
did
that.
ask him.
And I can't remember what he said.
Well, I think that he said that it was just defining the whole, trying to remember.
It's B.
Where is it?
It's under B, special ed, number 1.
Oh, special ed.
Yeah.
And it says, for this purpose, a weapon means a weapon, device, instrument, material, or substance, animate or inanimate, that is used for or is readily capable of causing death or bodily injury. So it's a definition of what is a weapon, and some of it is for the intent. Except such terms does not include a pocket knife with a blade of less than 2.5 inches in length.
And that,
I think it's ridiculous. It says
If I could-
21 and a half inches.
No, this is the new one. That was the old one. 2.5.
but it does, I think the issue was that it does not, we have other paragraphs that define, that do not give you a length or
We're having one too
size.
many conversations.
You know what I mean?
No, Katrina, you're going to have to say it one more time.
The issue was, why is that in there? Was that a special law that got through regarding some situation that occurred where special ed, students that are designated special ed can have a knife that is up to or less than 2.5 inch, and that looks like 21.
Yeah, that's
It's 2.5, it's
is
not,
2.5.
You're looking for blue.
it's 21.
I've never seen it written this way.
I haven't either. Whereas elsewhere in the policy, it does not specify,
I see.
whereas elsewhere in the policy, when weapons are being defined or described or listed or any other thing like that, it doesn't state a length. So we were curious why. Is that something that is legislation from years and years and years ago that just
It
hasn't caught up?
absolutely was wording from years and years, because it's in the
Exactly.
black.
Because I think it
And-
needs to be consistent.
Well, can this go back to the policy, which is supposed to anyways? I mean, to kind of
Yeah.
have you guys kind of
Well, I think
clarify
what it
that?
needs to do is, we just have to recheck with the attorney. He was supposed to answer that question, and
That's what I'm asking, if he had or not. Apparently
Okay.
he hasn't, so.
My understanding is that the legislature has changed the definition of the length of a deadly weapon and so forth several times over the last 4 or 5 years. And so I think if to check with Floyd, and I think referring to the statute at the time would be better than listing it, because we could get the wrong length
Yeah.
here.
So obviously that's one of the things that's going to go back to the policy for you guys to do. Is there any other discussion on this?
So when it goes back to the policy, I would like to reread this, because as I read this in the sanctuary of my home,
Yeah.
I didn't see that this was blue. I thought it was black. So I thought it was stuff that I had already read. So I'd like more time to.
Well, it's only the first
Only
reading
first reading,
anyway.
so good, we'll
All
come
right.
back.
Very good.
Okay.
And my guess is that if you had some concerns about the policy is meeting, I mean, I think I would send your comments to Lee so that they can get to her, so we're not reinventing that wheel on the second reading. No more wheels. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the first reading of the suspension and expulsion policy 5114, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstain? Motion so carried.
I'm abstaining, so is Jim.
So 2 abstentions? Motion still carries. All right. So number 6 is I'm just going to read, is to approve the restoration of the fiscal year 18 budget. And I believe, and can I just have a second so that we can go into discussion? Rosemary, now discussion. And so I believe, Ken, are you passing along stuff?
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and explain it?
So the $1,568,239 was approved to come back into our budget. $891,541 was previously approved by the board, consisting of personnel adjustments and CABE membership. So that one has already been done. The remaining $676,698, this is our proposal for allocating that remaining budget so that the entire $1,568,239 will be budgeted for.
Questions? This looks very similar to the stuff that we have seen.
It is.
Over and over.
Katrina? And
I'm thinking of this in relation to the next, is it the next motion? The magnet program funding? I guess it's too late. I wish we could have switched it around.
I was just about to say, you could do that.
We could
You
table this one.
Hold off, table this, and do the next one, and then come back if you want.
Could we do that?
It is the will of the board. I just need to have 2/3 to do that. All right? So, do all I have to do is just table that and go back to go to the next one. Is that correct? I want to make sure that I'm doing it, okay. So the motion now on the floor is to approve proposed magnet program funding for any CK. I just need a second to get us into discussion.
I'll second that.
Katrina. All right. Dr. Grenier.
You want to talk a little bit about it? Because I have spoken to Mr. Esposito, and the really driving force that he would like to see this year. Well, you've had more complete discussions. Why don't you explain it?
So one of the things for this year that NEA is looking to do is to have a Mac lab that would be really for the arts, to be able to have video, to be able to do 3D art, so to do things that our Chromebooks just can't do, and to have an entire Mac lab. And we did price it out.
Excuse me. You're saying Mac?
Mac.
Okay. I think you said
MAC.
Mac. Okay, I'm with you.
Mac lab. And I think he had mentioned that the last time at the COW, and the price he had estimated was $26,000, but we actually got a price of $21,500 to be able to accomplish that. He also is looking for more enrichment, and while we have a budget in the operating for enrichment, we do have a total amount of $38,000. And so there are some additional monies in there, so I've encouraged him, and also through the other literacy grant through Department of Defense, to, to add some of those enrichment programs this year, and they can be paid for under our existing operations.
And then for next year, he's come up with a list of items that he really needs, and they're mostly around the restoration and purchase of a lot of instruments, and also about building that enrichment, program, so he can do more of the plays, like 2 or 3 of the plays that he does pretty comprehensively, so throughout the year. And do you want me to mention that price? I think we came up with $15,000.
Well, that's for next year, so let's just.
Yeah, can we just
So
do one
tonight,
year?
we're talking about 21.5 to get the
Right.
MAC.
So that
route.
is the only thing tonight for the magnet
It's the only thing
funding.
tonight because we have district funds for the enrichment program that NEA will be able to tap.
What about CK?
CK also, interesting, they had come up with a whole spreadsheet of everything from their STEAM labs to robotics to coding, and she also had some professional development, but it wasn't until summertime, so it wouldn't be in this budget. So when we subtracted that cost for the professional development, it came out to be 21.5. So pretty even, Stephen. It was kind of incredible.
Well, if you remember,
I got Katrina first, then you.
there was a minimal column, there was a medium column, there was a sort of an optimum column.
Yes.
The medium column was 38, but when 38,000, but when Mrs. Delphine went back, she actually realized that some of the things had already been purchased. So I said, well, what do you need this year? We'll talk about next year tomorrow night. But this year, it came out to about 22.5. 21.5.
21.5.
Katrina?
Is there a handout that I didn't get in my packet?
There is not a
There is
handout
not.
for this.
This is the price quote that we got for the Macintosh lab.
Okay, what I'm wondering about is we got a sheet from Mr. Esposito, and on the top of it, I thought there was like a CIP type thing that was 26,000?
Yeah, that's this.
That's this.
The
That's this,
26
okay.
was the roundabout quote, but we got the real quote, it's
That was their
21.5.
guesstimate, okay.
And then he also had in that, he was hoping to have some enrichment activities, and Susan spoke to him about tapping into the district enrichment account, which she has access to.
Okay. We're going to, I think I have a referral to discuss this further.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Where's that money coming from?
That's a great question. My recommendation would be from the Department of Defense Supplemental Impact Aid. That would be my backup recommendation. My first recommendation, actually, would be to let the budget play out. And we'll see, because I'm not sure everything that we have here is going to cost as much as we think. So there may be an opportunity to pay for some of this stuff out of the site budgets, the regular board operating budget.
So there may be, and if there isn't, it will definitely come out of the
Yes.
DOD
Well, if the
grants.
board approves it tonight, that's right, absolutely.
Okay.
And Mr. Knight did check, and there is a function code for magnet themes, so that will be in our budget next
I
year.
knew that had to be, okay.
Yep.
Good job.
Gosh.
Rita, and then Jay, and then Gretchen.
I just had a question about that CK has quite a bit of money already from Title I.
They do.
And why would they need additional money for this? Why can't they take that out of their Title I funds?
I think that's what she went back and looked at, and there were some things that she had had on the original list that had already been covered either through her site budget or through Title I. So these were items that she wasn't purchasing. You know, they plan ahead, so we work on those Title I budgets kind of a year in advance, like through the summer, and by the time they finally get approved, it's usually late fall. So, you know, she had actually gone back and did that work.
So
to
you
get it.
really feel that 21,000 can't come out of additional Title I funds somewhere?
Well, she's already got her, and we have to be very careful with the amount that each school that's covered under Title I receives. And remember, you were taking about $200,000 for the districted initiatives. So it's not that the schools receive the entire $1 million. They only receive a portion. And I'm looking at Ken because I'm trying to remember the amount. But Claude Chester, because they have the largest free and reduced population, they always have to have more money. And then Chris is kind of the second school, and then West Side. So we have to make sure that they're delineated that way. So we can't restructure that amount of money.
Right. I'm just questioning the professional development in that piece.
Well, so she took that out.
She did take that out.
She took that out, yeah.
Rita, I appreciate your question in terms of that. I think that people don't understand about the Title I, so I'm really glad that you asked that question. Thank you. Jay?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about Title I, but getting back to Northeast for just a second. So we are being asked to approve the $21,500, and this will either come out of the budget, or as a backup, we're going to use DODEA.
Right.
Now, what enrichment programs from his list of requests were we funding? Because there's
Could you just speak into the microphone, Jay? Just a little?
There's after-school drama and theater, there's the band ensembles, the math enrichment, the art enrichment. What were we thinking about funding?
I don't think Mr. Esposito meant all of that this year.
Okay.
When I spoke with him, he primarily was interested in getting the Macintosh lab.
Right.
And
he's here.
Yeah.
He's here, we could ask him.
Sure.
Go ahead, Paul.
You should probably go into the microphone though, Paul.
On? Hi.
Hi.
Dr. Grenier is on the money there. We were looking for that lab this year, get it in place. We know we have some big projects coming at the end of this year. That will just save hours of time and allow us to really expand and explore some great opportunities. When it comes to the enrichment programs, as you know, that I submitted, it was a 3-year plan. We'd like to start July 1st with having year-round drama. As you know, we had to cut a lot of kids out of drama, so we would like to have it year-round so we could offer multiple performances and allow the grades to expand. And then, well, we currently have a jazz band now. It only runs for about 6 weeks, so but there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there and desire. So what we'd like to do is take next year, hopefully, have jazz band year-round, once a week. Drama, we're looking at 2 to 3 days a week, year-round. And then the orchestra, we have quintet, quartet, smaller ensembles year-round. So we would like to just take everything that we're doing now for about 6 weeks and allow the students to really get started in September and run them year-round. Am I answering that?
And the way our enrichment program works is they do a fall, winter, spring, so he really would like to include those. And one of the things we did discuss together was to give kids opportunities for smaller gigs, you know, like maybe an improv or maybe a reader's theater, so that kids will have more opportunities to perform, you know, but we can tie it into literacy. So you were going to talk to some teachers about possibly adding some performance this year, because we do have funds.
Jay, do you have more questions on that?
Right, well, just to follow up, so these enrichment funds that he's going to tap from the district, this is what all the schools use. You mentioned it earlier, for their after-school,
right,
before school. Each school determines their own enrichment activity. And so that's being taken care of. And so the only thing that we're asking tonight is for the capital improvement on the Mac lab.
Right.
And then these other things we will consider toward future budgets.
Yeah, I'd hope that next year, or July 1st going forward, our request for Northeast Academy is that we could, you know, start July 1st planning for year-round activities, so we could start to engage the students. It's a while. It takes a lot of planning, Students have difficulty, you can't be in all of them, so we had to plan it out in advance so that we could hit the ground running in September with year-round activities. But we do know there's a cost, and that's why we're hoping that you guys will consider it, and hopefully we can get it in place after July 1st for the entire school year, as opposed to just for a 6-week stint.
But how are we going to address the repair, replacement, and maintenance of the 20-year-old musical instruments?
I spoke with the music teachers today, and whatever the board's able to do for us, we are greatly appreciative. We just thank you tremendously if you're able to give us whatever the dollar amount would be, because that's what it comes down to. I would then turn to Mrs. Stevenson, Mr. Murphy, and Mr. Henderson and ask them to prioritize their needs, and they would have to discuss strings, orchestra versus band, and the drums, things like that. Which of the instruments are we in dire need of replacing or repairing? And through a prioritized list that they would create, we would access the money and then wait another year to get to the next list. I think that's something that's going to look at, over time, each year. It's kind of like that photography course that we're talking about over years at the high school. You'd have to probably replace equipment over time.
I also want to remind us that we're on the concept of for this year's money, and I think that your conversation is well worth it, but let's have that when we are looking at the budget for next year.
No, I'm talking about this year. I'm not talking about, that's a totally different conversation. I'm talking about the immediate needs for repair, replacement, and maintenance of band and orchestra instruments for a magnet school. That's their program. So how are we taking care of those immediate needs? But
if we have a principal of one of the magnet schools that comes to us tonight and says that really what they want for the monies for this coming year is your Mac lab.
Yes, that would be fantastic. I know that the budget's
And that's after
difficult,
having a
so-
conversation with the assistant superintendent about for this coming.
The other thing is that Northeast Academy has a site budget.
Yes.
Which will be restored, thank God, as of 5 minutes ago.
Hopefully.
To about $63,000. So you will have access to, well, you already had access to some of those dollars, but I know you've got the lion's share of your site budget yet to be expended. Fair to say?
Yes.
So you could repair, so some of the top priority stuff, some of the site budget could be allocated to that, as the other schools do.
Yep.
And it does.
Whatever, yes.
Repair is in there. But I think we're looking down the road for the future to even, replace some.
Just so that there's a figure that I could plan for the future each year. This is all, we're going to allocate this much money towards repair and replacement, and just budget that in, and anything extra, sorry, you'll have to wait another year kind of a thing, and we move forward.
Katrina, excuse me, Jay, are you done with your questions? I apologize.
No. So I've had parents call me, but they're upset that their children were not able to participate in drama in the current year. How are we paying for the instructor for this drama? We're arts magnet school. How are you paying for that in the current year?
Last year, we passed a hat, and we took donations from the audience, and this year, Mrs. Austin's says we can tap into the enrichment
For the
monies
drama, too.
that the district, for all the schools, so.
And I've encouraged them to come up with other drama.
So do you have an enrichment account? Do you have some?
We tap into the district's enrichment account.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's an allocation, right?
Yeah.
And do you have some drama planned for the spring?
Yeah, we're in rehearsals right now. Drama typically runs.
Well, I think that's your question, Jay, right?
Yeah,
we
why
want to
were
do
those-
more drama.
Right, because why were
Do we have the
students
ability to
excluded?
do more drama?
This year?
Yeah.
That would depend on if the district's, well, that's when Mrs. Austin says to me, yes, there's money, you can go ahead and do it.
Right.
We don't start anything until we know that there's money
Yeah, we've
available.
discussed that, though, for him to do smaller things, not one of these huge productions, but, something that would be in the spring cycle that could be improv or reader's theater or something that other children, some kids don't like the big performance, they would prefer to have some smaller kinds of performances.
Jay?
Okay, well, I don't want the impression to be that we've created this magnet school and, you know, and we're not actually carrying through and, you know, why are students being excluded from drama because there wasn't the funding this year? And hearing from the parents of all the money that they've had to spend through their PTO to support the program, I just want to make sure that we're funding it. So if Mr. Esposito says he's good for this year, then we'll go with that.
Katrina?
I agree with Jay, and I was going to say something, but when Mr. Esposito said that they had to pass the hat, I don't think that if we cannot support a magnet school to the extent that the staff and administration and the curriculum and all that stuff thinks, then we shouldn't have one. So I look forward to having our conversation about funding the magnet schools, and I sent
What was
another...
the deficit for which you needed to pass a hat?
Well, the last year's play was approximately $3,000, and that didn't include the instructor, or, you know, the drama coach.
Right.
He didn't get paid. We just, the audience members...
So what did you do with your enrichment program last year?
What we did for enrichment last year? We had everything from jazz band for 6 weeks. We did crocheting for 6 weeks. We did
compensated the people for that, right?
They were, yeah, yes. They
But not the drama person. We didn't
Well, I
compensate.
thought we did compensate him, but not
No.
for his whole time. You gave him something.
I heard he had a stipend.
No, we did not. So his time is significantly more than he's 3 to 4 days a week, as opposed to 1 hour, 1 day a week for 6 weeks. He's 3 to 4 days per week for, 20 weeks, something like that. We were just hoping to make it year-round and secure him so that he knows there's going to be, because otherwise it's not going to, it's a lot of time he has to put in. And it's nice to know if you're going to be.
But we did discuss your paying him this year.
This year, we're going to tap into the enrichment. Our concern was this year that the enrichment is typically 1 hour for 6 weeks, as opposed to the 3 to 4 hours he puts in every week for about 20 weeks. And we're sharing that with the other schools. That's what prompted me to say maybe we could set aside something for our arts, because we don't want to take, that's a big chunk of money from all the other schools in Richmond, because it's one account, so we didn't want to get involved.
How much is the enrichment account?
$38,000.
And how much is allocated per school?
Well, the elementary takes the lion's share, but they don't spend the whole $38,000. They maybe spend $28,000. And then it's also used for the middle school. But the middle school has additional funds too through Title II and now the DODEA grants. So because of the grants, we've been able to add to. That's why we're able to seek.
So it's about $5,000 per school?
Not even quite.
A little bit less.
Like three.
I think we had we had about 2,800 per school.
Oh, just 2,800, okay.
It was
for the total amount.
Yeah, it was about nine.
But that would be
nine
only
enrichment activities.
$18,000. Where did the other 18 go?
Well, for the other enrichment funds, and it might not have been totally expended. That's why I said he could
that's what
use it.
surprises me about passing the hat. If there was unexpended money, did you ask for the money?
Asked for that.
The enrichment money.
Well, the enrichment money was explained to us as each school had about 9 $250 allotments, and we tried to. Those are each that's about 6 weeks of 1 hour per week, or 8 weeks, 1 hour per week. Well, we used our 9. We had the fitness club. We had we have. I mean, there's other things going on. Jazz band. Like
So
I
at
said,
least
the
for
fitness
this
club,
year, there appears to be, if there's $38,000, it's certainly more than $2,800 for your school.
And I've communicated that to all the principals.
So for this year, there seems to be several $1,000s that, well, several, $3,000 or $4,000 that would be allocated to Northeast Academy. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
And which would take care of, I hope, an additional drama performance or something that Mr. Whiteloff was advocating for.
Sure, if you're saying we could do that.
Well, actually, that's in the budget. You can talk to Susan and
We
May
have
about that.
talked about it, and I also said that there's a literacy grant, so you can do Reader's Theater. There's
Yeah.
other vehicles that you can draw funds from.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Lee, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Andrea?
Yes. I think that if we're going to tout our schools, we have 2 schools that are magnet schools. If we're going to tout them as magnet schools, we have to fund them as magnet schools. They shouldn't have to worry about whether this one's going to come out of this grant or that one's going to come out of some other pot of money. If we're advertising our schools as magnet schools, we need to fund them, and there's no discussion
Yeah.
in my mind.
I'm 100% in agreement.
We all agree with that.
We are funded.
Not in that way. It
Well,
has to be a line.
I think it's a communication issue. We need to sit down. Susan Ball and I need to sit down, because there clearly is money on the table to support these programs.
I don't think that's what we're talking about.
We submitted a 3-year plan. I think it
Right.
kind of lays it out each year, what the annual costs are,
Yep.
that little
Yep, we got it.
capital thing.
Yep.
and
Yep.
then, you know.
Gretchen?
Can I bring us back to the Mac Lab? Is there physical space in the building for it without displacing another special program? Like, or, so we're not putting some other.
I think it's a piece of technology we're going to use in an existing program.
The Mac?
Yeah.
It's on a cow.
It's on a cart.
Yeah.
It is on a cart, so
Yeah.
we're
It
not
is
gonna
a
have a
cart,
room
yeah.
of.
We're gonna allow the students access to the
Okay.
Macintosh.
I was like thinking we were gonna be forcing another.
No.
Are there any recurring licensing fees?
Yes. And it's also the purchase of the play. It's reoccurring, like annual.
Yeah.
The cost of the play every year is an annual, or the 2 or 3, that's a cost that we would have to cover each year. This year, I have to work with Mr. Knight because it was not a vendor. It's kind of odd, just really briefly, it's James and the Giant Peach, and the only company that's making a giant peach is in China, and we need that shipped in, but they're not on the vendor list. So those kind of things get in the way, and I have to kind of figure out how do we get the giant peach here. Each year, the typical cost of an elementary play, because they have to take a play and they have to reduce it down and make it for elementary, and there's certain songs, so that licensing fee typically runs between $700 and $1,000 for one play. And then we work with costumes and sets and things like that we develop, and I have to work with Mr. Knight on that, because those are things we purchase through like Goodwill and places like that, because we need costumes. So how I go about all that is a little complicated, but.
Does that answer your question?
No, I thought I don't have the sheet, but I thought there were some.
So you're talking about the licensing agreement for the Mac Lab?
Yes.
Not necessarily
Mac Lab.
licensing?
No, I'm sorry, I thought you
No
meant.
licensing agreement, piece of equipment.
I'm sorry. I thought you
So
meant.
I kind of want
That's
to.
all right. I enjoy hearing that.
I thought you meant the licensing for the play.
Well,
All right.
that too, I'm glad to hear. But like, I
Do you
thought there
have-
were programs that were listed on
There
that
were,
sheet.
Mr. Dennis, our technology director, he and I have talked, he made recommendations. He was able to.
Paul, time out.
Oh,
You're not
sorry.
talking about that. You're talking about
Yeah.
enrichment programs, drama and so forth.
I'm
No,
talking about what
stuff.
is going to be used on the Mac, the programs that are going to
Oh,
make
yeah.
them
Okay,
run.
so go ahead, talk about that.
That's
green
the
screen
licensing
stuff.
I'm concerned.
Dennis made a recommendation. We only purchased one bundle at this time.
Okay.
That reduced that cost down significantly. And then he said, work with what comes with the Mac first. He also found us a cart. And when I quoted, we went retail. We just looked at the retail price of everything, and he was, he's able to do a better job than the retail cost.
Okay.
So this year, we're getting only one of the computers is outfitted with the bundle package, the software package that we requested.
Yeah.
And we would wait until next year, after July 1st, to consider outfitting the rest of the computers, based on
Which-
his recommendation, which we were happy to follow.
Okay, so that's a budget consideration, or it'll come out of, well, never
Well,
mind.
for next year, because we have this new function code, the board, I think, is going to plan in accordance with what you just said, sufficient money to support both magnet programs.
Any other questions?
I just have a statement that next year, it looks like for magnet school support, we have almost 90,000 in our budget. I mean, for our next year. So
Really?
yeah, that's what it
Oh, great.
says,
Do we
under the
put that in there?
magnet school function,
Yeah.
1115.
Yeah, yeah.
Put something in.
Yeah.
That
Magnet
was
school
just
support.
I think that was just a broad
Placeholder?
estimate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but at
That's
least.
the
But it's
least.
a
money
start.
there, because before that, it was 000.
Right.
I'm only kidding. We were
Any
$3
other,
million.
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate this.
So the motion, I want to make sure I know what we're voting on. Are we going to be voting on the MAC?
22.5. 22.5 for Northeast Academy and 22.5 for CK.
21.5.
21.5.
21.5, for both of them. Is that?
For each of them.
For each. What does the MAC, the special MAC do?
Oh, we have that.
We had that description last week, and so it's a 3D design.
It's a graphics kind of thing, and the kids can do green screen presentation. It's really a kind of like a little video editing suite, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, so we're going to finish this motion, because we're not going to tap into
Yeah.
this year's,
Yeah.
to this budget, to do.
It's a graphics program with cool graphic things that kids can do.
Didn't we just ask the kids? We knew the motion's been tabled.
We have a request to move the motion.
I am, sorry, Rita, the question that Rita had is that we've tabled the first one, and so I'm planning to finish this motion that's on the floor right now, and then going back to the one that we tabled.
Yes.
Okay? So, was that?
That was me.
Growling.
So Mark will thank you for his eardrums. So the motion that is on the floor is the 21.5 for both, each, for NEA and for the CK Magnet School Program. And the funding, that, I am not saying this eloquently, but so the funding is the first choice is to go through our existing budget. And if that does not happen, we are going to be, we'll supplement it through the DODEA grant, supplemental grant.
Excuse me, did you want the 43,000 as part of this motion you're about to approve?
Yes, that's what I just said, the
21.5. 43.
43. I separated it for Northeast.
How do you want it stated, separately?
Yes,
Yes.
separately. Yes, please. With the understanding that it's going to be paid for through the existing budget and supplemented if needed, necessary, for the DODEA. Supplemental. All right. That's the motion that's on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Abstain? Motion so carried. Let's go back to the one that has been tabled, which is the motion to restore the restoration of the fiscal year 2018 budget. Do we have any questions about that? Because I think it's been first and seconded. Hearing no discussion, we've seen this a lot anyways. Not anyways, but we have seen these numbers. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion so carried.
Jay abstained.
Oh, Jay, did you abstain? Andrew, did you abstain?
Oh, I said yes.
I just wanted to point out to the Board of Education, we just got the FY18 budget. Just now with that vote. Thank you.
End of January. All right.
End of January.
So our next item is the possible action about the transportation. What I am going to, and that's going to be going into an executive session. So I would like to entertain that we're going to finish the rest of our meeting. What's wrong?
We have the standing committee business.
Oh, the standing committee business.
Number 8.
Which is number 8. I skipped that one. So we have a motion to approve the reinstatement of the Curriculum Committee and Finance and Facility Committee. I think that this motion is, can I have a second, please?
Second.
So the discussion is that we want to reinstate this. I think in the committee of the whole, we can discuss when we do it and what that is. But I just wanted to just say that we are reinstating those things. Okay. All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion so carries. All right, going back to number 9, I'm going to put that in the way back, and that's the executive session. So letters and communications, Jay.
Let's see. I'll go last.
Rosemary?
Is this stuff we've attended also? I went to GAS today, and they have a great many things that they would like to do with us.
Great.
And a lot of interesting ideas, so including some community involvement of some businesses that would be supportive. I also have approached Anytime Fitness, who will be setting up a recycling place so that we can recycle. They do a lot of drinking of water there. And so I mentioned, because they have a 40% military membership, that it would behoove us to get involved with them, and they're very excited about the thought of doing recycling for Charles Barnum, so for the hiking group, because it's physical fitness.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe I haven't done anything.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
All right.
I've had communications from some community members about the Alliance District and how we are going to support the children, our students, and so we are no longer eventually an Alliance District in the next 5 years. And I also had wonderful comments from some parents of Northeast Academy students who are very pleased and just so happy to be at the school and all it provides. Since I live in a Northeast Academy neighborhood, it's very easy to talk to people, so it's wonderful.
Awesome, thank you. Andrew?
I went to the Permanent Building Committee, and I intend to continue to do that. And I also wanted to compliment the Fitch High School Jazz Ensemble who played at the ecumenical service. And I was so excited about showcasing the scholars and talking about the International Baccalaureate program and why we had them do what they did tonight. And I forgot to say that each of those students received a $20,000 scholarship, and going through a very rigorous application process. So just so you know.
Just so you know. All right, Jay.
Thanks to having a granddaughter at Northeast Academy, I've been talking to that family and friends of theirs. And it's very exciting to hear the kids themselves speak of that school and all they're doing, how excited they are about just being part of Northeast Academy. Yeah. It truly is a great environment for students.
Gretchen? Katrina?
I can't. I know I have, but I couldn't. I'm sorry.
I talked to a bunch of teenagers, but I can't remember what this is.
So I also received communications concerning the Alliance District and remedial services in the district, as well as from parents at Northeast Academy and their concerns about funding there. And it was a joy to attend the Martin Luther King Jr. Ecumenical Service at St. James, organized by Dr. Ackerman, along with my son. It was a very inspiring afternoon.
I forgot to say you were there.
So we have advanced planning, and just to remind people that on the 29th at the Senior Center, we have our public hearing, but we are filled with budget.
Excuse me. You said the 29th, but you meant the 30th.
But I really meant the 30th. But I did say the 29th.
We are doing something on the 29th. We know what you're at.
Okay.
Aren't we doing something on the 29th?
We are.
We have a meeting.
There's a meeting.
There's something for
Tomorrow night, there's a
everything.
budget workshop. The 29th, there's a budget workshop. The 30th, there's
is
the
the
public
presentation.
hearing at 6 o'clock. Joan, 6 o'clock?
7:30, I thought. No, 7.
For the public hearing?
Yes, 7.
Okay, so, and then for the agenda, the agenda items, Rosemary, I think that it would be really cool for, in a committee of the whole, for us to see how we can collaborate with the GASP, and to hear their ideas and see where there can be more synergy. I think that that would be really good.
They have some educational programs that
That'd
would
be
be ideal, including something for middle schools.
Good. I mean, I think that the board would need to hear that, but that would be very cool. Rita?
I just wanted to ask you on the 12th and the 21st for the COWs, they're going to be budget mostly, right?
Yes.
Because since the budget has to be passed
By the 26th.
by the 26th there. So I'm just curious, it looks like the end budget work session's February 5th, but I'm sure that's not true.
That's not true. I think I think that there's a budget workshop attached to every single meeting.
So,
up
I
until
mean,
the
would we
26th.
still have the COWs, or would it be, or shouldn't it be all budget?
Well, I think that will determine on what's on the agenda and also what needs to be discussed before we go for a vote on the Board of Ed meeting. So my sense is that probably would not be a very long committee of the whole, but because we would want to do the bulk of that into the budget.
Otherwise, we'll have to have more meetings. And
Yeah.
has one of these budget work sessions, are we going to extend like a special invitation to RTM and town council members?
Yeah. Well, maybe we could do that tomorrow night. I would just, because we struggled so hard with this year's budget, it occurred to me that we have to pass next year's budget in 34 days. I wasn't kidding. Mr. Knight and I have not been able to put the budget together because the first column of the budget is essentially what was the FY18 budget, and until your action tonight, we couldn't complete that column. So it has been a difficult journey, to say the least. But we have 34 days.
So not hearing anything, I would entertain a motion.
One quick question. Was there a BOE, AGS, AGEA meeting?
No, there was not, and that's
postponed.
been postponed.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Mr.
There's no
Esposito
adjournment.
just
We have to go into an
mentioned,
executive session.
Say it again?
Mr. Esposito wanted everybody to know that we have celebration of the arts at NEA.
That's right.
Damn it, 31st through the 2nd.
The second.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next week.
Thursday evening as well.
Okay.
And it's all our schools
You know
and
what?
opened up to the
I
community.
have your flyer, I'll put that in the board notes. It's like a huge thing with lots of different people coming to perform and display their visual arts.
Thank you.
So I am going to entertain a motion for us to go into executive session with, wait, I had to finish the motion, my love. Executive session with Dr. Grenier, Superintendent, Mr. Kilpatrick, and does our business
Mr.
manager?
Knight, yes,
Mr.
that'd
Knight.
be great if we could do
Can I
that.
have a motion? Just
Oh,
give me a
Susan.
second.
It's Susan.
And Susan. Sorry, Susan.
If you want to.
Can I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. Let's meet in 3 minutes.